The alien delegate's laughter cuts through the grand crystal spire as human ambassador Michael Rogers stands before the Galactic Council. His cybernetic enhancements remain hidden for now. Primitive, unworthy, laughable. Karina, the Betazoid representative, spits the words at Michael. Her angular features twist with disdain as she interrupts his presentation for the third time. The stakes couldn't be higher. Earth's admission to the Galactic Council hangs in the balance. Michael takes a deep breath, steadying himself. The expansive windows of the spire offer a breathtaking view of the Betazoid capital city below, its gleaming towers a testament to their advanced civilization. He feels small, out of place among these cosmic titans. Humanity has made great strides in... Michael begins again, only to be cut off by a chorus of jeers from the assembled aliens. The Arcturian delegate, a being of pure energy contained in a hovering orb, pulses with mocking light. The Zeta Reticulan representative, insectoid and imposing, clicks its mandibles in what can only be derision. Karina steps forward, her silver robes shimmering as she moves. "Enough of this farce," she declares, her voice ringing through the chamber. "If humans are so advanced, let them prove it." Her eyes lock onto Michael's. "I challenge you, Ambassador Rogers, to a series of tests, physical and mental trials that will demonstrate once and for all whether humanity deserves a place among the stars." The room falls silent. Michael feels the weight of Earth's future on his shoulders. Failure means more than just denied entry to the Council. It could lead to isolation, exploitation, or worse for his homeworld. "I accept," Michael says, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. Minutes later, he finds himself in a specially prepared arena adjacent to the council chamber. Karina stands opposite him, a smug smile playing on her lips. The first test, she announces, will measure strength and agility. As the signal to begin sounds, Karina leaps into action. Her movements are fluid, graceful, inhumanly fast. Michael tries to keep up, but he's clearly outmatched. The alien delegates watch from above, their earlier mockery now mixed with pity for the struggling human. Michael falls to one knee, gasping for breath. Karina approaches, victory in her eyes. "Is this truly the best Earth has to offer?" she taunts. Something shifts in Michael's demeanor. He looks up, a new determination evident in his stance. "No," he says quietly. "This is." In that moment, Michael activates his hidden cybernetic enhancements. His eyes flash with an eerie blue light, and suddenly, he's moving. Not just moving, blurring. His speed and precision are beyond anything the assembled aliens have seen from a human before. Karina stumbles back, shock replacing her earlier condescension. The other delegates lean forward, murmuring in disbelief. Michael completes the agility course in seconds, his movements a perfect fusion of man and machine. As he comes to a stop, the chamber is silent. The once mocking aliens stare at Michael with new eyes, filled with wonder, respect, and more than a little fear. In revealing his enhancements, Michael has not just proven humanity's worth. He's shifted the entire balance of power in the galaxy. The human stands tall, his eyes still glowing that eerie blue. "Now," he says, his voice carrying easily through the stunned silence, "shall we continue our discussion about Earth's admission to the Council?" The chamber remains silent, the air thick with tension and unspoken questions. Michael's glowing blue eyes swept across the faces of the alien delegates, taking in their expressions of awe and trepidation. Karina, her earlier smugness replaced by a mix of shock and indignation, was the first to break the silence. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded, her voice sharp. "You dare to conceal such technology from the Galactic Council?" Michael deactivated his enhancements, his eyes returning to their natural brown. He straightened his posture, squaring his shoulders as he addressed the assembly. "Delegates of the Galactic Council, what you have witnessed is but a fraction of humanity's true capabilities." A murmur rippled through the crowd. The Arcturian delegate Zalthor floated forward, his energy form pulsing with curiosity. "Ambassador Rogers, you must understand the gravity of this revelation. The Council requires a full explanation." Michael nodded, his expression resolute. "Of course, for decades, Earth has been developing advanced cybernetic technology in secret. Our achievements in this field surpass those of most galactic council races. The chamber erupted into chaos. Delegates shouted questions and accusations, their voices overlapping in a cacophony of alien languages. Michael stood firm, waiting for the commotion to subside. Zalthor's voice cut through the din. "I call for an emergency recess. We must discuss the implications of this new information." The other delegates quickly agreed, and the assembly began to disperse. As Michael watched the aliens file out of the chamber, he noticed several huddled groups forming, their whispers and furtive glances in his direction, not escaping his attention. He took a deep breath, knowing that the next few hours would be crucial for Earth's future. During the recess, Michael found himself approached by Xandra, a female Zeta Reticulan scientist. Her compound eyes studied him with intense fascination. "Ambassador Rogers," she began, her mandibles clicking softly, "I am most intrigued by your cybernetic advancements. Might we discuss the possibility of collaboration?" Michael regarded her carefully, weighing his options. "I'm open to discussion, Xandra. What did you have in mind?" Xandra leaned in closer, lowering her voice. "A private meeting, perhaps. There may be potential for a separate alliance between Earth and my people." Her antennae twitched with excitement. "I see," Michael replied, keeping his tone neutral. "Let's arrange something after the summit reconvenes. We'll need to tread carefully given the current situation." As Xandra nodded and moved away, Michael caught sight of Karina and her Betazoid delegation retreating to a private chamber. The set of her shoulders and the quick, agitated movements of her hands told him all he needed to know. They were strategizing, and likely not in Earth's favor. When the summit reconvened, the atmosphere crackled with tension. Michael stood at the center of the chamber, all eyes fixed upon him. Zalthor spoke first, his energy form pulsing with each word. "Ambassador Rogers, the Council demands full disclosure of Earth's technological capabilities." Michael had anticipated this. He allowed himself a small smile before responding. "I understand your concerns, delegates. In the spirit of transparency, I propose a demonstration of our cybernetic technology." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber, but Michael raised a hand to quiet them. "However, such a demonstration can only be conducted properly on Earth itself. I extend an invitation to a select group of delegates to visit our top-secret facility where this technology is developed and tested." The chamber erupted into heated debate. Some delegates vehemently opposed the idea, while others argued in favor of accepting the invitation. Michael watched the exchanges carefully, noting which races seemed more open to Earth's inclusion in the Council. After what seemed like hours, a consensus was reached. Zalthor approached Michael, his energy form shimmering with anticipation. "The Council accepts your proposal, Ambassador. A delegation will be chosen to visit Earth." As the delegates began discussing the logistics of the visit, Michael's comm unit vibrated. He discreetly checked the message, his eyes widening slightly at its contents. It was an encrypted transmission from the human government, marked urgent. "Ambassador Rogers, extreme caution advised. Potential security, risks with alien visit, limit access to sensitive information at all costs. Earth's future depends on your discretion." Michael quickly composed his features, not wanting to betray any sign of concern to the watchful aliens around him. As he pocketed the comm unit, he caught Karina's eye across the chamber. The Betazoid representative was watching him intently, her earlier disdain replaced by a calculating gaze that sent a chill down his spine. The human ambassador realized that his task had just become infinitely more complex. He would need to navigate the treacherous waters of interstellar politics while safeguarding Earth's most precious secrets. As the chosen delegation, including Karina, Zalthor, and Xandra, prepared for their journey to Earth, Michael felt the weight of his responsibility more keenly than ever. Little did Michael know that back on Earth, hidden from both the government and the approaching alien delegation, the secretive Terran Advancement League was already setting plans in motion. Their goal, to ensure human dominance in the galaxy, regardless of the diplomatic consequences. As their agents began to mobilize, the stage was set for a confrontation that would shape the future of human-alien relations for generations to come. The Terran Advancement League's agents mobilized in secret as Michael prepared for his return to Earth. His mind raced with the weight of his responsibilities as he boarded the sleek interstellar shuttle. The journey back to his home planet was a blur of strategic planning and anxious anticipation. As the shuttle broke through Earth's atmosphere, Michael gazed out at the familiar blue and green orb below. The Rocky Mountains came into view, their jagged peaks concealing the entrance to humanity's most closely guarded secret. The shuttle touched down on a hidden landing pad, seamlessly integrated into the mountainside. Michael disembarked, his steps echoing in the cavernous hangar. A tall man with graying hair and piercing blue eyes approached him. "Ambassador Rogers," the man said, extending his hand. "I'm Dr. Marcus Stein, lead scientist of the Terran Cybernetic Research Facility. Welcome to TCRF." Michael shook his hand firmly. "Dr. Stein, it's a pleasure to finally meet you in person." As they walked through the facility's sprawling corridors, Dr. Stein's brow furrowed. "Ambassador, I must express my concerns about this alien delegation. Revealing our work here could jeopardize Earth's position." Michael nodded, his expression grave. "I understand your reservations, Doctor, but we need to strike a delicate balance between transparency and security." They entered a vast chamber where a group of cybernetically enhanced soldiers navigated an impossibly complex obstacle course. The soldiers moved with inhuman speed and precision, their movements a blur to the naked eye. "Impressive," Michael murmured, watching as one soldier leaped a 20-foot gap with ease. Dr. Stein allowed himself a small smile. "This is just the beginning, Ambassador. Follow me." They proceeded to another section of the facility where scientists hunched over holographic displays, their fingers dancing across invisible keyboards. Michael's eyes widened as he realized what he was seeing. "Is that—" "Yes," Dr. Stein confirmed. "We're integrating advanced AI systems with human neural networks. The potential applications are limitless." As they continued their tour, Michael's comm unit buzzed. He excused himself and answered the call, his expression growing more serious with each passing moment. "Understood, Admiral. Keep me updated," he said before ending the call. Michael turned to Dr. Stein, his voice low. "That was Admiral Graves. Long-range sensors have detected unusual activity at the edge of our solar system. Several large, unidentified vessels are moving in what appears to be a reconnaissance pattern." Dr. Stein's face paled. "This complicates matters significantly." Before Michael could respond, a petite woman with an unwavering focus approached them. "Ambassador Rogers, Dr. Stein," she said, her voice crisp and professional. "I'm Agent Sarah Chen from the Terran Intelligence Agency. We need to talk." Michael nodded, sensing the urgency in her tone. They moved to a secure conference room where Agent Chen activated a privacy field. "We have reason to believe there's been an infiltration within the TCRF," she said without preamble. "One or more individuals may be working for an unknown alien faction, possibly connected to those vessels you just learned about, Ambassador." The room fell silent as the implication sank in. Michael's mind raced, calculating risks and possibilities. "We need to act quickly," he said, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Dr. Stein, I want a complete lockdown of all non-essential areas of the facility. Agent Chen, initiate a covert surveillance operation on all personnel. We need to identify any potential security risks." As Dr. Stein and Agent Chen moved to carry out his orders, Michael contacted Admiral Graves. "Admiral, I need you to mobilize Earth's space defense fleet, position them strategically to monitor and, if necessary, intercept those unidentified vessels. But keep it discreet, we can't afford to raise alarm." With the wheels set in motion, Michael turned his attention to the imminent arrival of the alien delegation. He gathered Dr. Stein and Agent Chen to plan the demonstration. "We need to impress them without revealing everything," Michael explained. "A carefully choreographed showcase of our cybernetic advancements, but with clear limits on what we disclose." As they worked late into the night, finalizing every detail of the presentation, tension continued to mount within the TCRF. Security personnel patrolled the corridors with increased frequency, their cybernetic enhancements humming softly. Scientists worked feverishly, fine-tuning their presentations and securing sensitive data. In his temporary quarters, Michael stood before a window overlooking the facility's main atrium. He watched as teams of engineers and security specialists prepared the area for the delegation's arrival. The fate of Earth's position in the galactic community hung in the balance, with threats lurking both within and beyond their walls. As the first rays of dawn broke over the Rocky Mountains, Michael steeled himself for the challenges ahead. The next few days would test not only his diplomatic skills, but humanity's readiness to claim its place among the stars. With a deep breath, he turned away from the window and headed to the command center, ready to face whatever the universe had in store. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on his shoulders as he strode purposefully towards the command center. Upon entering, Michael was greeted by a flurry of activity. Technicians and analysts moved with practiced efficiency, their cybernetic implants glowing softly as they processed vast amounts of data. Dr. Stein approached, his face etched with concern. "Ambassador, we've finalized the demonstration protocols," he reported, handing Michael a data pad. "We've selected our best enhanced individuals to showcase our advancements without revealing our full capabilities." Michael nodded, quickly scanning the information. "Excellent work, Doctor. Let's hope it's enough to impress our visitors without compromising our security." As they discussed the finer points of the presentation, Agent Chen entered the room, her expression grim. "Ambassador, we have a situation," she said in a low voice, gesturing for Michael and Dr. Stein to follow her to a private alcove. Once secluded, Chen activated a holographic display. "Our surveillance operation has uncovered suspicious communication patterns," she explained, pointing to a series of encrypted data streams. "They all lead back to one individual, Dr. Eric Hartman, a junior researcher in the Cybernetics division." Michael's eyes narrowed. "What do we know about him?" "Not much," Chen admitted. "He's been with the TCRF for 3 years, exemplary record until now. We're still working on decrypting the communications, but the patterns suggest he's feeding information to an external entity." "Could it be connected to those unidentified vessels?" Dr. Stein asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Before Chen could respond, an alert flashed across the command center's main screen. Admiral Graves's face appeared, his expression taut with tension. "Ambassador Rogers," he began without preamble, "our stealth satellites have detected increased activity from the unidentified vessels. They're maintaining their position at the edge of the solar system, but energy readings suggest they're powering up weapon systems." Michael's mind raced, calculating potential scenarios. "Admiral, maintain surveillance but do not engage unless absolutely necessary. We can't risk open conflict with the delegation en route." As the Admiral acknowledged the order, Michael turned to Chen. "Agent, I want Dr. Hartman under constant surveillance. If he so much as sneezes, I want to know about it. But do not confront him yet. We need more information." Chen nodded sharply and left to implement the directive. Michael then addressed Dr. Stein. "Doctor, I need you to double-check all systems involved in tomorrow's demonstration. If there's even a hint of sabotage, we need to know now." As the TCRF buzzed with increased activity, Michael retreated to his temporary office to prepare for the delegation's arrival. He had just begun reviewing the final diplomatic protocols when his comm unit chimed with an incoming transmission. "Ambassador Rogers," Zandra's voice crackled through the secure channel, her alien tones tinged with urgency. "I have critical information regarding the delegation." Michael leaned forward, his attention fully focused. "Go ahead, Zandra." "Certain factions within our group, particularly the Betazoids led by Karina, are planning to use this visit as an intelligence-gathering operation," she explained quickly. "They intend to probe for weaknesses in your defenses and potentially sabotage your technological advancements." Michael's face hardened. "Thank you for the warning, Zandra. Can you provide any specific details about their plans?" "I'm afraid not," she replied, her frustration evident. "They're being extremely cautious, but be on guard, Ambassador. The stakes are higher than you realize." As the transmission ended, Michael sat back, his mind whirling with the implications. He quickly summoned Dr. Stein, Agent Chen, and Admiral Graves for an emergency strategy session. In the secured conference room, Michael briefed the team on Zandra's warning. "We need to implement additional security measures immediately," he declared. "Dr. Stein, I want backup demonstration protocols in place. If anything goes wrong with our primary showcase, We need alternatives ready. Understood, Ambassador, Dr. Stein replied, already tapping notes into his datapad. Michael turned to Agent Chen. Agent, I need you to discreetly enhance security throughout the facility. Focus on protecting our most sensitive areas without alerting our visitors. Chen nodded. I'll deploy our most advanced cybernetically enhanced security personnel. They'll blend in seamlessly with the regular staff. Admiral, Michael continued, addressing the holographic projection of Graves, maintain your current posture, but be prepared for rapid response if needed. If those vessels make any aggressive moves, I want our fleet ready to intercept. As the team dispersed to carry out their tasks, Michael stood at the window overlooking the facility's main atrium. The first rays of dawn were breaking over the Rocky Mountains, casting long shadows across the landscape. In just a few hours, the alien delegation would arrive, setting in motion a chain of events that could reshape humanity's place in the galaxy. Michael watched as teams of engineers and security specialists made final preparations in the atrium below. The air was thick with anticipation and nervous energy. He could almost feel the weight of Earth's future pressing down on him. A soft chime from his comm unit interrupted his thoughts. It was a message from the Terran Intelligence Agency's deep cover operatives. Unknown high-ranking official entered TCRF perimeter. Identity unconfirmed. Exercise extreme caution. Michael's brow furrowed as he read the message. Another variable in an already complex equation. He took a deep breath, steeling himself for the challenges ahead. As he turned away from the window and headed back to the command center, one thought echoed in his mind. The next few hours would determine the course of human history. The command center was a hive of activity as Michael entered. Screens flashed with real-time data from Earth's defense systems, the TCRF's internal security feeds, and long-range scans of the approaching alien vessels. In the center of it all stood Dr. Stein, Agent Chen, and a holographic projection of Admiral Graves. Status report, Michael ordered as he joined the group. Dr. Stein spoke first, his voice tight with tension. We've implemented the backup demonstration protocols, Ambassador. If anything goes wrong with our primary showcase, we have 3 alternative presentations ready to go. Agent Chen picked up where Stein left off. Security has been enhanced throughout the facility. Our cybernetically augmented personnel are in place, indistinguishable from regular staff. We've also increased surveillance on Dr. Hartman, but so far he's shown no signs of unusual activity. Admiral Graves's hologram flickered slightly as he delivered his report. The unidentified vessels at the edge of our solar system remain in position, Ambassador. Their weapons systems are powered but inactive. Our fleet is positioned to respond at a moment's notice. Michael nodded, processing the information. Excellent work, all of you. Now we have one more complication to address. He shared the message about the unknown official who had entered the TCRF. Agent Chen's eyes narrowed. I'll look into it immediately, Ambassador. We'll discreetly monitor all high-level personnel who've entered the facility in the last 24 hours. As the team continued to discuss final preparations, a junior analyst approached, her cybernetic eye whirring as it focused on Michael. Ambassador Rogers, she said, her voice quavering slightly. We've just received word. The alien delegation's ship has entered Earth's atmosphere. They'll be landing in approximately 30 minutes. Michael straightened his posture, a calm tenacity settling over him. This is it, people. Everything we've worked for comes down to the next few hours. Dr. Stein, ensure the demonstration team is ready. Agent Chen, maintain heightened security, but keep it subtle. Admiral Graves, stand by for any developments. As the team dispersed to their respective positions, Michael made his way to the landing pad. The morning sun had fully risen, bathing the Rocky Mountains in golden light. In the distance, a glint of metal caught his eye, the alien ship descending through the clouds. Michael took a deep breath, centering himself. The fate of Earth's position in the galactic community hung in the balance. As the ship grew larger in the sky, he mentally prepared himself for the diplomatic dance that lay ahead. The ship's engines roared, drowning out all other sound as it made its final approach. The ship's engines roared, drowning out all other sound as it made its final descent. The alien vessel touched down with surprising grace, its sleek design a stark contrast to the rugged terrain of the Rocky Mountains. As the engines powered down, a hush fell over the landing area. Michael stood tall, his cybernetic enhancements imperceptible, but ready to assist him in this crucial moment. The ship's airlock hissed open, revealing a ramp that extended smoothly to the ground. Karina, the Betazoid representative, emerged first. Her dark eyes scanned the welcoming party, seeming to penetrate beyond mere physical appearances. Zalthor from Arcturus followed, his imposing frame dwarfing the others. Last came Xandra, the Zeta Reticulan scientist, her movements fluid and precise. Michael stepped forward, his voice steady as he addressed the delegation. Distinguished representatives, on behalf of Earth and the Terran Cybernetic Research Facility, I welcome you to our world. Karina's lips curved into a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Ambassador Rogers, we are most eager to see what humanity has achieved. As Michael led the group towards the facility's entrance, he caught Agent Chen's subtle hand signal. She had positioned herself as a lab assistant, blending seamlessly with the staff. Her warning was clear. Karina was attempting to scan the facility with a concealed device. Without missing a beat, Michael smoothly redirected the conversation. Before we begin the tour, I'd like to give you an overview of our research focus. Dr. Stein, if you would. Dr. Marcus Stein stepped forward, his cybernetic eye whirring almost imperceptibly as he began his presentation. Our first demonstration showcases the enhanced physical capabilities we've achieved through our cybernetic advancements. The group entered a large open area where a team of cybernetically enhanced soldiers stood at attention. At a signal from Dr. Stein, they sprang into action. The soldiers lifted massive steel beams with ease, their movements fluid and precise. They navigated a complex obstacle course at superhuman speeds, leaping over barriers and scaling walls as if gravity held no sway over them. Zalthor's eyes widened, his typically stoic expression betraying a hint of surprise. Impressive, he rumbled. Your integration of organic and synthetic components is more advanced than we anticipated. As the demonstration continued, Michael's comm unit vibrated with an urgent message from Admiral Graves. The unidentified vessels at the edge of the solar system had begun to move towards Earth. Michael's pulse quickened, but he maintained his composed exterior. If you'll follow me, Michael said, guiding the delegation towards the next area, we'll show you some of our more specialized cybernetic applications. As they moved through the facility, Michael noticed Dr. Eric Hartman in the background, moving with purpose towards the main demonstration area. Alarm bells rang in Michael's mind. Hartman should have been in custody after his suspicious communications were discovered. Michael discreetly signaled to Agent Chen, who nodded almost imperceptibly and disappeared into the crowd. He then tapped a hidden command into his wrist device, alerting security to Hartman's presence without alerting the delegates. The tour progressed to a section showcasing advanced neural interfaces. A group of individuals demonstrated their ability to control complex machinery with thought alone, their movements synchronized with an array of robotic arms and holographic displays. Suddenly, one of the subjects began to twitch uncontrollably. His cybernetic arm whirred and sparked, movements becoming erratic and unpredictable. Alarms blared as the malfunctioning prototype threatened to spiral out of control. Chaos erupted in the demonstration area. The alien delegates reacted with a mix of fear and fascination. Karina used the distraction to slip away from the group, making her way towards a restricted terminal. Michael's mind raced, assessing the multiple crises unfolding simultaneously. He had to contain the malfunctioning prototype, prevent Karina from accessing classified information, and deal with Hartman's unexpected presence, all while maintaining diplomatic composure and keeping the alien delegation safe. Dr. Stein, initiate Containment Protocol Omega, Michael ordered, his voice calm but authoritative. Delegates, please remain calm. Our safety measures are designed to handle such unforeseen events. As Dr. Stein worked to stabilize the malfunctioning prototype, Michael noticed a familiar face in the crowd, the undercover director of the Terran Advancement League. The director caught Michael's eye and nodded, a silent signal passing between them. Before Michael could respond, Hartman burst into the room, his eyes wild and unfocused. "They're coming!" he shouted, pointing towards the ceiling. "We need to reveal everything now!" The alien delegates turned towards Hartman, their expressions a mix of confusion and alarm. Zandra's gaze darted between Hartman and Michael, her large eyes unblinking. In that moment of confusion, Karina made her move, reaching for the restricted terminal. However, as her fingers touched the interface, the system locked down, a testament to Dr. Stein's foresight in implementing hidden security measures. Michael stepped forward, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Ladies and gentlemen, I assure you that everything is under control." He turned to address the security team that had just entered the room. "Please escort Dr. Hartman to a secure location for his own safety." As Hartman was led away, still shouting about impending doom, Michael's comm unit buzzed again. Admiral Graves's voice came through, tense and urgent. "Ambassador, the unidentified vessels have increased speed. They'll enter Earth's orbit within the hour." Michael's mind raced, weighing his options as he stood at the epicenter of multiple converging crises. The fate of Earth's position in the galactic community hung in the balance, and his next actions would determine the course of human history. History hung in the balance, and his next actions would determine the course of human civilization. In that instant, Michael made his decision. His eyes flashed with an intense blue light as he activated his cybernetic enhancements, interfacing directly with the facility's security systems. Time seemed to slow as his augmented neural processors kicked into overdrive. "Initiating facility-wide lockdown," Michael announced, his voice calm but filled with authority. His fingers danced across a holographic interface only he could see, sealing off critical areas and containing the malfunctioning prototype in a matter of seconds. The alien delegates watched in awe as Michael's movements blurred with inhuman speed. Zalthor's massive frame tensed, ready for action, while Zandra's large eyes widened with scientific curiosity. As the lockdown protocols engaged, blast doors slammed shut throughout the facility. Alarms blared, and emergency lights bathed the corridors in a pulsing red glow. The malfunctioning prototype, moments ago a whirlwind of destruction, found itself trapped within an energy containment field. Michael's comm unit crackled to life, Admiral Graves' voice cutting through the chaos. "Ambassador, we have a situation up here. The unidentified vessels have accelerated rapidly. They've just breached our outer defense perimeter." Without missing a beat, Michael responded, "Deploy the Cybernetic Fighter Squadron, Admiral. Major Hawkins and her team are our best chance at holding them off." In space, Major Sarah Hawkins received the deployment order. Her cybernetic implants hummed to life as she interfaced with her advanced fighter craft. "All right, team," she commanded over the neural link. "Let's show these unknowns what Earth's finest can do." The squadron launched from their orbital platform, their ships streaking towards the incoming threat. As they engaged the alien vessels, the sky above Earth lit up with energy weapons and explosions, a deadly light show visible even from the ground. Back in the TCRF, Agent Chen sprinted through the corridors, her cybernetic enhancements pushing her body to its limits as she pursued Dr. Hartman. Her augmented vision tracked his heat signature, predicting his movements with uncanny accuracy. Chen cornered Hartman in a restricted research lab, where he frantically worked at a terminal. "Step away from the console, Dr. Hartman," Chen ordered, her cybernetic arm reconfiguring into a non-lethal weapon. Hartman spun around, his eyes wild. "You don't understand. They're already here. We need to reveal everything." Chen didn't hesitate. She lunged forward, her augmented reflexes allowing her to dodge Hartman's clumsy attempt at a punch. In a flurry of movements too fast for the human eye to follow, she subdued the rogue scientist, securing him with smart cuffs that adjusted to his struggles. Meanwhile, the director of the Terran Advancement League saw his opportunity in the chaos. He slipped away from the main group, making his way to a hidden terminal. With practiced ease, he initiated a rogue protocol designed to override the facility's safeguards. Alarms blared anew as the TCRF systems began to malfunction. Active cybernetic enhancements throughout the facility flickered and glitched, causing confusion and panic among the staff. Michael, still fully interfaced with the facility's systems, detected the unauthorized access immediately. He traced the source and remotely locked down the terminal, trapping the director in place. "Security team to Sector 7, he commanded, his voice echoing through the facility's communication systems. "We have an unauthorized access attempt." As Michael coordinated the internal response, he noticed Karina's absence from the group of delegates. He quickly accessed the security feeds, spotting her entering a secure data center. Agent Chen, he communicated through their secure channel, we have a situation in Data Center Alpha. The Betazoid delegate is accessing classified information. Chen acknowledged the order and changed course, racing towards the data center. She arrived to find a guard standing at attention, his eyes glazed over. Chen's cybernetic implants detected the telepathic interference immediately. She activated her psionic shield, a cutting-edge defense against telepathic manipulation, and burst into the room. Karina looked up from the terminal, surprise flashing across her face. I wouldn't do that if I were you, Chen warned, her cybernetic arm reconfiguring once again. In the demonstration area, Dr. Stein worked frantically to contain the malfunctioning prototype. Its enhanced strength and agility made it a significant threat, its movements becoming more erratic by the second. Stein reached for a small device on his belt, an experimental failsafe he had developed for just such an emergency. Everyone, clear the area, Stein shouted as he activated the device. A pulse of energy rippled through the room, targeting the prototype's cybernetic components. The rogue machine stuttered, its movements becoming sluggish before it finally collapsed. Above Earth, Major Hawkins and her squadron engaged the alien vessels in a fierce dogfight. The neural interfaces of the Earth pilots allowed them to react with superhuman speed, their ships dancing between energy beams and debris. Formation Delta, Hawkins commanded, her thoughts instantly relayed to her team. The Earth fighters moved as one, executing a complex maneuver that caught the alien ships off guard. Several of the unknown vessels erupted in silent explosions, but the remaining ships pressed their attack with renewed vigor. Suddenly, Hawkins's sensors detected a massive energy buildup in the largest alien ship. Command, we have a problem, she reported. They're charging some kind of weapon. Energy signature is off the charts. In the TCRF, Michael received the report from Admiral Graves. He realized with growing dread that the events at the facility and the space battle were interconnected. Earth's most advanced cybernetic technology was at risk of falling into unknown hands, while an alien force prepared to unleash an unknown weapon. Michael turned to the remaining delegates, his eyes still glowing with cybernetic energy. Distinguished representatives, he said, his voice steady despite the chaos around them. I believe it's time we had a frank discussion about the true nature of this visitation. As the delegates exchanged uneasy glances, Michael prepared to navigate the most challenging diplomatic scenario of his career. The fate of Earth's cybernetic advancements, and perhaps humanity's place in the galactic community, hung in the balance. The next few moments would determine everything. The course of human civilization. As the words left Michael's mouth, his cybernetic enhancements surged into action. His eyes glowed an intense blue, and his fingers danced across an invisible interface. In mere seconds, he had interfaced directly with the facility's systems, initiating a series of countermeasures designed to contain the escalating chaos. Initiating electromagnetic pulse in Data Center Alpha, Michael announced, his voice calm but filled with authority. The localized EMP burst through the secure room where Karina had been attempting to access classified information. Electronic devices sparked and died, leaving the Betazoid delegate momentarily stunned. Agent Chen, who had just reached the data center, found Karina slumped over the now inactive terminal. The guard outside shook his head, clearing the last vestiges of telepathic influence. Chen swiftly moved to apprehend the disoriented Betazoid. Target secured, Chen reported through her comlink. Michael nodded, his focus already shifting to the next crisis point. Through the facility's security feeds, he observed Dr. Stein struggling with the malfunctioning prototype. Michael's enhanced cognitive abilities kicked into overdrive, analyzing the erratic behavior of the rogue machine. Dr. Stein, Michael's voice crackled through the lab's speakers, recalibrate your fail-safe device to target the power distribution system. Frequency 87.3 megahertz. Stein's eyes widened with understanding. He quickly adjusted the small device on his belt, aiming it at the thrashing prototype. A pulse of energy rippled through the air, and the rogue machine stuttered, its movements becoming sluggish before collapsing entirely. Prototype neutralized, Stein reported, wiping sweat from his brow. In the restricted research lab, Agent Chen engaged in a fierce physical confrontation with Dr. Hartman. The rogue scientist's desperation lent him strength, but Chen's cybernetic enhancements gave her the edge. In a blur of motion, she subdued Hartman, securing him with smart cuffs. "Lab secured," Chen reported, her breath slightly labored. "Hartman is in custody." Michael remotely sealed the lab and initiated a data purge of all terminals Hartman had accessed. "Excellent work, Agent Chen," he responded. "Maintain your position until the security team arrives." Turning his attention to the director of the Terran Advancement League, Michael engaged in a virtual battle of wits. The director's attempts to override the facility's safeguards were met with Michael's lightning-fast countermeasures. Lines of code flashed across Michael's cybernetic vision as he anticipated and blocked each of the director's moves. "You're out of your depth," Michael muttered, his fingers flying across the holographic interface. With a final, decisive command, he locked the director out of the system entirely. "Security team to Sector 7, he ordered. "Apprehend the individual at Terminal 23B. Outside the facility, the space battle raged on. Major Sarah Hawkins received a priority transmission from Admiral Graves, relaying critical information from Ambassador Rogers. "Squadron, form up on me," Hawkins commanded through the neural link. "We've identified a weakness in their shielding. Prepare for a coordinated strike on my mark." The Earth fighters moved as one, their enhanced reflexes allowing them to weave through the enemy formation. Hawkins's HUD highlighted the vulnerability in the alien ship's defense systems, a flaw detected by their advanced sensor analysis. "Now!" Hawkins shouted. A barrage of precisely targeted energy beams lanced out from the Earth squadron, striking the alien vessels at their weakest points. Explosions blossomed in the void of space as several enemy ships lost power and began to drift. "Direct hit," Hawkins reported. "Their primary weapon systems are offline." The remaining alien vessels, their attack thwarted, began to retreat. The sky above Earth, moments ago alight with the fury of battle, gradually returned to its usual serene state. Back in the TCRF, Michael guided the remaining alien delegates to a secure observation room. The delegates' expressions ranged from shock to awe as they witnessed the efficiency with which the crisis had been contained. "Distinguished representatives," Michael addressed them, his cybernetic enhancements powering down but his mind still racing. "What you've just witnessed is but a fraction of humanity's capabilities. Allow me to provide a more controlled demonstration." Over the next few minutes, Michael presented a carefully curated showcase of Earth's cybernetic advancements. Holographic displays sprang to life, showing enhanced humans performing feats of strength, their wounds healing at accelerated rates, and their senses detecting stimuli far beyond normal human limits. As the demonstration concluded, Michael's comm unit buzzed. Admiral Graves' voice came through, tense but controlled. "Ambassador, we've received a transmission from the retreating vessels. They're identifying themselves as the Corvidae Collective. They're requesting a formal meeting." Michael's mind raced, processing the implications of this new development. The events of the past hour had irrevocably altered Earth's position in the galactic community. As he prepared to respond to the Admiral, Michael knew that the coming negotiations would shape the future of human-alien relations for generations to come. The immediate crisis had been averted, but the real challenge was just beginning. Michael turned to face the alien delegates, his expression a mask of diplomatic neutrality. "It seems," he said, his voice steady, "that we have much to discuss." "Discuss? The events of the past hour have necessitated a reevaluation of our position." As the words left his mouth, Michael's cybernetic interface flashed with a barrage of incoming data. Security alerts, damage reports, and urgent communications flooded his enhanced vision. He quickly prioritized the information, his augmented cognitive functions, allowing him to process and respond to multiple crises simultaneously. "Agent Chen," Michael communicated through their secure channel, "I need you to establish a high-security detention area within the facility. We have 3 high-priority detainees that require immediate containment and interrogation." Chen's response was swift and professional. "Understood, Ambassador. I'll oversee the setup personally." Michael turned his attention to Dr. Stein, who was still examining the neutralized prototype. "Dr. Stein, I want a full analysis of that malfunction. Something doesn't add up, and we need to know if we're dealing with more than just a technical glitch. Stein nodded, his eyes already glazing over as he interfaced with his scientific equipment. I'm on it, Ambassador. I'll have preliminary results for you within the hour. As the facility bustled with activity, Michael received an urgent communication from Admiral Graves. The holographic projection of the Admiral materialized before him, his face etched with a mix of concern and commitment. Ambassador Rogers, we've completed our initial analysis of the space engagement. The performance of our cybernetically enhanced pilots was remarkable. Major Hawkins and her team outmaneuvered technology far beyond our current understanding. We need to capitalize on this advantage. Michael nodded, his mind already formulating strategies. Agreed, Admiral. Compile a full tactical review. I want every detail of that battle analyzed and integrated into our defense protocols. As the Admiral's hologram faded, Michael turned to address the remaining alien delegates. Their expressions ranged from awe to barely concealed fear. Distinguished representatives, I apologize for the interruption to our proceedings. I assure you, Earth takes its responsibilities as a potential member of the galactic community very seriously. If you'll follow me, we've prepared a secure observation room where we can continue our discussions. Michael led the delegates through the facility's winding corridors, now bustling with security personnel and emergency response teams. As they walked, he provided a running commentary on the advanced cybernetic systems that were working to contain the crisis. Upon reaching the observation room, Michael's cybernetic interface alerted him to an incoming transmission from Earth's central government. If you'll excuse me for a moment, he said to the delegates, stepping aside to take the call. The face of the president appeared in his field of vision, her expression grave. Ambassador Rogers, we've received your preliminary report. The situation is more complex than we anticipated. We're authorizing the formation of a special task force under your command. You'll have access to our top minds in diplomacy, military strategy, and cybernetic technology. Thank you, Madam President, Michael replied. I believe we'll need every resource at our disposal for what's coming next. As the call ended, Michael's attention was drawn to a commotion outside the observation room. Agent Chen was escorting a familiar figure. Xandra, the Zeta Reticulan scientist who had warned him about potential sabotage. Ambassador Rogers, Xandra said, her large almond-shaped eyes filled with urgency. I must speak with you immediately. I have critical information about the Galactic Council and the Corvidae Collective. Information that could change everything. Michael's cybernetic enhancements went into overdrive, analyzing Xandra's body language and vocal patterns for any signs of deception. Finding none, he made a split-second decision. Agent Chen, escort Xandra to a secure debriefing room. I'll join you shortly. Turning back to the alien delegates, Michael's tone was polite but firm. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid we'll need to postpone our discussions. Earth security forces will ensure your comfort and safety until we can resume. As the delegates were led away, Michael received another alert. Dr. Stein's preliminary analysis of the prototype malfunction was complete. The data scrolling across Michael's vision confirmed his suspicions. This was no accident, but a sophisticated act of sabotage. Michael's mind raced, connecting the dots between the various events: the attack by the Corvidae Collective, the sabotage at the TCRF, the actions of the Galactic Council representatives, and now Xandra's urgent warning. A pattern was emerging, one that suggested a far more complex and dangerous situation than they had initially believed. As he made his way to the debriefing room, Michael initiated a series of commands through his cybernetic interface. Earth's defense grid was brought to high alert, additional cybernetically enhanced satellites were deployed, and a global advisory was issued to key government and military personnel. The pieces were falling into place, but the full picture remained elusive. As Michael prepared to hear Xandra's revelation, he knew that the next few hours would be crucial in determining Earth's future in the galactic community. The negotiating table was set, the players were taking their positions, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Higher than ever before. Michael took a deep breath, his cybernetic enhancements processing the flood of information and prioritizing his next moves. Agent Chen, he said, turning to the capable operative, I need you to assemble an interrogation team immediately. We have 3 high-priority detainees that require our attention. Karina, Dr. Eric Hartman, and the director of the Terran Advancement League. Chen nodded, her eyes gleaming with the reflection of her own cybernetic interface. Understood, Ambassador. I'll use our most advanced lie detection technology. We'll get to the bottom of this. As Chen moved to carry out her orders, Michael's attention shifted to Dr. Stein, who was approaching with a holographic display of data hovering above his palm. Ambassador, Stein began, his voice tinged with excitement and concern. We've made a breakthrough in our analysis of the sabotage prototype. You're going to want to see this. Michael leaned in, his cybernetic vision zooming and enhancing the holographic image. What he saw made his artificial synapses fire rapidly, processing the implications. Is that alien technology? Michael asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Stein nodded grimly. A microscopic nanotech device embedded in the prototype's neural interface. It's unlike anything we've ever seen before. This is what caused the malfunction during the demonstration. Michael's mind raced, connecting this new information with the recent events. This changes everything, Dr. Stein. Continue your analysis and report any findings directly to me. As Stein hurried back to his lab, Michael received an incoming transmission from Admiral Graves. The holographic projection of the Admiral appeared before him, his face set in stubborn persistence. Ambassador Rogers, Graves began, Major Hawkins and I have been analyzing the data from the space engagement. We're implementing a series of upgrades to our cybernetic defense systems based on what we've learned. Our enhanced pilots will be even more formidable in the next encounter. Michael nodded approvingly. Excellent work, Admiral. We'll need every advantage we can get. As the Admiral's hologram faded, Michael's cybernetic interface alerted him to movement in the secure wing of the facility. Agent Chen was escorting Xandra, the Zeta Reticulan scientist, to a private meeting room. Michael made his way to the room, his mind processing multiple streams of data as he walked. As he entered, Xandra's large, almond-shaped eyes fixed on him with an intensity that even his enhanced perception found unsettling. Ambassador Rogers, Xandra began, her voice carrying a sense of urgency. What I'm about to tell you will change your understanding of the galactic landscape. The Corvidae Collective is not what they seem. Michael leaned forward, his full attention on the alien scientist. Go on, he urged. Xandra took a deep breath before continuing. The Collective is an ancient civilization, far older than any in the Galactic Council. They've been observing younger races for millennia, intervening only when a species reaches a certain technological threshold. Your rapid advancements in cybernetics have caught their attention. They see humanity as a potential rival or ally. As Michael processed this information, his cybernetic interface suddenly flashed red with multiple alerts. Earth's global infrastructure was under attack. Power grids flickered, communication networks stuttered, and transportation systems ground to a halt. Michael's fingers flew across a holographic keyboard that materialized before him. This is a coordinated cyber attack, he muttered, his enhanced cognitive functions analyzing the patterns. And it bears the hallmarks of advanced alien technology. Without hesitation, Michael issued a series of rapid-fire commands. Activate Project Prometheus, he ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Deploy cybernetically enhanced peacekeeping forces to all major cities and initiate the Quantum Entangled Defense Network. Across the globe, specially augmented humans linked into a vast, instantaneous network, their enhanced minds working in perfect synchronization to counter the alien cyber assault. In cities worldwide, civilians watched in awe as cybernetically enhanced soldiers materialized on the streets, their movements a blur of inhuman speed and precision as they worked to maintain order and protect key infrastructure. As the crisis unfolded, Michael received a priority communication. The holographic face of the president appeared before him, her expression a mixture of concern and dedication. Ambassador Rogers, she began, the situation has forced our hand. We're going public with the full extent of our cybernetic program. The world needs to understand what we're facing and how we're equipped to handle it. Michael nodded grimly. Understood, Madam President. We'll need to be prepared for the public reaction. I'm already seeing reports of riots and clashes between pro- and anti-cybernetic groups. As if on cue, his cybernetic interface displayed real-time footage from major cities around the world. Streets filled with protesters, some demanding more access to cybernetic enhancements, others decrying the loss of humanity they represented. Amidst the chaos, a new alert caught Michael's attention. A message from the Corvidae Collective had arrived, proposing a neutral meeting ground for the upcoming negotiations, a massive space station in the Kuiper Belt. Michael's mind raced, weighing the risks and opportunities. The location was beyond Earth's current space capabilities, which meant relying on alien transportation. It was a bold move by the Collective, one that simultaneously extended an olive branch and demonstrated their technological superiority. Accept the invitation, Michael decided, speaking into his comm unit, and begin assembling our negotiation team. We'll need our best and brightest, each enhanced to the peak of human capability. As the orders went out, Michael turned back to Zandra, his expression grave. It seems your information came just in time. We're about to enter negotiations that will determine the fate of our species. I hope you're prepared to share everything you know about the Corvidae Collective and the Galactic Council. Zandra nodded solemnly. I am at your disposal, Ambassador. But be warned, the game we are about to play has rules you cannot yet imagine. As they delved into an intense debriefing session, Earth's long-range sensors detected a massive energy surge near the Kuiper Belt. The Galactic Council and the Corvidae Collective were arriving in force, their ships gathering around the space station that would soon host the most important diplomatic meeting in human history. Michael's cybernetic enhancements worked overtime, processing the influx of information and coordinating Earth's response to multiple crises. As he prepared for the monumental task ahead, he knew that every decision, every word, and every action in the coming negotiations would shape the future of humanity among the stars. Stars. Michael's cybernetic interface buzzed with a flurry of incoming data as he shifted his focus to the immediate task at hand, preparing Earth's delegation for the journey to the Kuiper Belt station. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Michael oversaw the final preparations, his enhanced cognitive abilities allowing him to multitask with superhuman efficiency. In a secure wing of the facility, top diplomats, scientists, and military strategists underwent last-minute cybernetic enhancements, each tailored to their specific roles in the upcoming negotiations. Dr. Marcus Stein, now serving as the chief science officer for the mission, approached Michael with a holographic display hovering above his palm. Ambassador, I've developed a revolutionary neural interface for our team, he explained, his eyes gleaming with excitement. It will allow us to share information and coordinate strategies in real time, giving us a significant advantage during the negotiations. Michael nodded approvingly, his cybernetic vision zooming in on the intricate details of the interface. Excellent work, Dr. Stein. Have it implemented immediately. As the science team worked on integrating the new neural interface, Michael received a priority communication from Admiral Jonathan Graves. The Admiral's holographic projection materialized before him, his expression one of fierce dedication. Ambassador Rogers, I'm implementing a new defense protocol codenamed Aegis Shield, Graves reported. We're integrating our cybernetically enhanced space fleet with a network of advanced satellites. It should provide a formidable defensive perimeter around Earth while we're away. Good thinking, Admiral, Michael replied. We can't leave Earth vulnerable during these negotiations. What's the status of our combat readiness? Major Hawkins is leading a squadron of elite pilots through a series of high-stakes training exercises, Graves answered. They're pushing their cybernetic enhancements to the limit, preparing for any potential confrontations we might face out there. As the departure date approached, Michael's cybernetic interface alerted him to a series of unusual events unfolding on Earth. Reports were flooding in of individuals spontaneously developing cybernetic abilities without undergoing official enhancement procedures. Concerned, Michael initiated a secure video call with Dr. Eric Hartman, who was still in custody. The scientist's face appeared on the holographic display, his expression a mix of fascination and worry. Dr. Hartman, what do you make of these spontaneous enhancements? Michael asked, his tone urgent. Hartman leaned forward, his eyes intense. Ambassador, I believe the alien nanotech device we found in the sabotage prototype may be responsible for this phenomenon. It's possible that it's somehow replicating and spreading among the population. Michael's mind raced, processing the implications of this development. This could complicate matters significantly. We'll need to monitor the situation closely. The day of departure arrived with a palpable sense of tension. Michael stood at the entrance of the specially designed ship, watching as the Earth delegation boarded. Each member's cybernetic enhancements hummed with energy, their neural interfaces syncing as they stepped aboard. As the ship prepared to leave Earth's atmosphere, long-range sensors detected a massive energy surge near the edge of the solar system. Michael's cybernetic vision zoomed in on the holographic display, revealing a colossal wormhole opening in space. Ambassador, the ship's AI announced, a Corvidae collective vessel has emerged from the wormhole. It's enormous. Michael watched in awe as the alien ship approached, dwarfing anything in Earth fleet. Its sleek, dark surface seemed to absorb light, giving it an almost ethereal appearance. They're hailing us, the AI reported. They're offering to escort us to the meeting site. Michael nodded, his enhanced mind already calculating the potential risks and benefits of this unexpected development. Accept their offer, he commanded, but maintain our defensive posture. As the Earthship fell into formation with the massive Corvidae vessel, Michael received an encrypted transmission from Agent Sarah Chen. Her face appeared on a secure holographic display, her expression grave. Ambassador, Chen began, her voice low and urgent. Our interrogations have revealed a deeper conspiracy within the Galactic Council. There's a faction known as the Purists, who seek to eradicate all cybernetically enhanced species. They view them as abominations. Michael's cybernetic enhancements went into overdrive, processing this new information and its potential impact on the upcoming negotiations. Thank you, Agent Chen, he replied. This adds a new layer of complexity to our mission. Keep digging and report any further findings immediately. As the journey through the solar system continued, the Kuiper Belt station came into view. The massive structure was a marvel of alien engineering, composed of interconnected rings that spanned several kilometers. Ships from various Galactic Council races could be seen docking at different ports, highlighting the scale of the gathering. Upon docking, Michael led the Earth delegation off the ship, his cybernetic senses on high alert. They were met by a diverse group of alien representatives, including Zalthor, the Arcturian delegate from the earlier summit. Zalthor's large, multifaceted eyes widened as he took in the Earth delegation. Ambassador Rogers, he said, his translator conveying a mix of surprise and respect. Your species' advancement in cybernetic technology is remarkable. Michael nodded politely, noting the absence of Karina and the Betazoid delegation. His suspicions about their true motives deepened, but he kept his expression neutral. As the team prepared to enter the main conference chamber, their cybernetic enhancements detected an unusual energy signature emanating from the center of the station. Dr. Stein leaned in close to Michael, his voice barely above a whisper. Ambassador, that energy signature, it's unlike anything we've ever encountered. It could be the source of the Corvidae Collective's advanced capabilities. Before Michael could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. The delegation's cybernetic interfaces lit up with tactical data, revealing a group of unidentified ships emerging from concealed positions in the Kuiper Belt. We're under attack, Major Hawkins shouted, her cybernetic enhancements already linking her to the ship's weapon systems. Energy weapons lit up the space around the station as the unidentified ships launched their assault. Michael's enhanced mind raced, analyzing the situation and weighing their options. The attackers are using technology similar to that employed in the recent cyber attacks on Earth, Dr. Stein reported, his fingers flying over a holographic interface. Michael quickly realized that this attack could be a ploy to disrupt the negotiations or a genuine threat to all parties involved. He had to make a decision, and fast. Major Hawkins, prepare to engage, Michael commanded. Dr. Stein, work on establishing a connection with the station's communication network. We need to coordinate a response with the other delegations. As the Earth delegation sprang into action, Michael's cybernetic interface buzzed with incoming data from multiple sources. The outcome of this unexpected battle would likely reshape the balance of power in the galaxy and determine humanity's place among the stars. With his enhanced mind processing countless variables, Michael prepared to navigate the complex web of galactic politics and conflict that lay ahead. With his enhanced mind processing countless variables, Michael prepared to navigate the complex web of galactic politics and conflict that lay before him. Suddenly, the station shuddered under the impact of enemy fire. Michael's cybernetic interface flared to life, flooding his consciousness with real-time tactical data. Without hesitation, he established a direct neural link with the Earthship's systems. "Major Hawkins, initiate counteroffensive pattern Delta," Michael commanded, his voice calm despite the chaos erupting around them. "Dr. Stein, I need a full analysis of the attacker's energy signatures." Major Sarah Hawkins, her neural implants now fully integrated with the ship's weapon systems, sprang into action. Her fingers danced across the holographic control panel, guiding a barrage of precision strikes against the mysterious attackers. The Earthship's advanced cybernetic defenses proved formidable. Energy shields shimmered as they deflected incoming fire, while automated point defense systems picked off incoming missiles with unerring accuracy. Michael's enhanced cognitive abilities worked overtime, analyzing the attack patterns scrolling across his vision. A pattern emerged, revealing a vulnerability in the enemy ship's shielding. "Major Hawkins," Michael called out, his voice cutting through the din of battle. "Target coordinates Alpha 79er. Their port shields fluctuate every 3.7 seconds. Hawkins nodded, her cybernetically enhanced reflexes allowing her to adjust fire instantly. A series of concentrated energy beams lanced out, striking the weak points in the enemy shields. 3 attacking ships erupted in silent explosions, their debris scattering across the void. Meanwhile, Dr. Marcus Stein hunched over a complex array of holographic displays, his newly developed neural interface allowing him to process vast amounts of data simultaneously. His fingers twitched as he manipulated unseen controls, establishing secure communication links with the other alien delegations. "Ambassador," Stein reported, his voice tense with concentration. "I've managed to open channels with the Arcturians and 3 other species. They're hesitant, but the common threat seems to be overriding their mistrust." Michael nodded, his mind already formulating a strategy. "Patch me through to Zalthor," he ordered. The Arcturian delegate's face appeared on a holographic display, his multifaceted eyes reflecting the chaos around him. "Ambassador Rogers," Zalthor's translator conveyed, "this attack is unprecedented. We must coordinate our efforts if we are to survive." "Agreed," Michael replied swiftly. "I propose a joint defense strategy. Our cybernetic systems can interface with your energy manipulation technology. Together, we can create a unified defense grid." As Michael and Zalthor quickly hashed out the details of their alliance, the massive Corvidae collective vessel that had escorted the Earth delegation sprang into action. Its sleek, dark hull seemed to ripple as hundreds of small hatches opened along its surface. A swarm of autonomous drones poured forth, each no larger than a human fist. Their movements were a breathtaking display of coordination, forming complex, ever-shifting patterns as they positioned themselves around the diplomatic ships. "Ambassador," the ship's AI announced, "the Corvidae drones are generating an interlocking energy field. Our defenses have improved by 237%. Michael's enhanced vision zoomed in on the drone swarm, analyzing their capabilities. "They're cybernetic systems," he muttered. "They're as advanced as ours, maybe more so." A priority alert flashed across Michael's field of vision. Admiral Jonathan Graves's face appeared, his expression grim but determined. "Ambassador, we've activated Protocol Omega. Our most advanced cybernetic warships are en route to your position. ETA, 37 minutes. Before Michael could respond, a violent tremor shook the station. Warning klaxons blared as emergency lights bathed the corridors in an eerie red glow. "We have a breach," Dr. Stein shouted, his hands flying over his console. "Internal sensors are detecting multiple intruders. They're heading for the central power core." Michael's enhanced mind raced, processing the new threat. "It's the purists," he realized aloud. "They're trying to destroy the station from within." Without hesitation, Michael turned to Agent Sarah Chen, who had been quietly monitoring the situation from the back of the room. Agent Chen, take half our team and secure the station's critical systems. Stop those saboteurs at all costs. Chen nodded, her cybernetic enhancements already priming her body for combat. She gestured to a group of the Earth delegation, and they moved out with practiced efficiency, their neural interfaces allowing for silent, instantaneous communication. As Chen's team disappeared into the bowels of the station, Dr. Stein's voice cut through the din of battle. Ambassador, I'm detecting an unusual energy signature from the station's core. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Michael strode to Stein's station, his cybernetic vision processing the complex energy readings. What are we looking at, Doctor? Stein's eyes were wide with a mixture of fear and excitement. It appears to be some sort of artifact, sir. Of Corvidae origin, if I had to guess. The energy output is staggering. This could be the source of their advanced technology. Michael's mind raced, calculating possibilities and potential outcomes. If we could harness that power, he mused, we might be able to turn the tide of this battle. Just then, a transmission from Major Hawkins caught his attention. Ambassador, long-range sensors are detecting a new wave of ships entering the system. Signatures match the attackers. We're about to be overwhelmed. Michael's decision was instantaneous. Dr. Stein, gather a team. We're going to the core. If we can interface with that artifact, we might just save ourselves and rewrite the future of cybernetic technology in the process. As Michael led a diverse team of cybernetically enhanced individuals from various races towards the heart of the station, he knew they were racing against time. The fate of multiple species hung in the balance, with the looming threat of both internal saboteurs and an overwhelming external force bearing down upon them. The corridor ahead was bathed in the pulsing glow of emergency lighting, casting long shadows that seemed to dance with each tremor that shook the station. Michael's enhanced senses picked up the distant sounds of combat, the sharp crack of energy weapons, and the dull thud of explosions. Stay alert, he warned his team as they approached a sealed bulkhead. We don't know what we'll find on the other side. As the doors hissed open, revealing the cavernous chamber that housed the station's core, Michael's cybernetic enhancements went into overdrive, processing the scene before him. At the center of the room, suspended in a crackling field of energy, floated an object that defied easy description, the Corvidae artifact. Its surface seemed to shift and flow like liquid metal, patterns of light dancing across its form in complex, mesmerizing sequences. The air around it hummed with power, making the hair on the back of Michael's neck stand on end despite his cybernetic enhancements. My God, Dr. Stein breathed, his eyes wide as he took in the sight. The computational power required to generate those energy patterns. It's beyond anything we've ever conceived. Michael nodded, his mind already racing ahead to their next move. We need to establish an interface, and fast. Doctor, start setting up our equipment. Everyone else, defensive positions. We can't let the purist reach this room. As the team sprang into action, Michael's cybernetic interface buzzed with an incoming transmission from Agent Chen. Her face appeared in his field of vision, streaked with sweat and grime. Ambassador, we've engaged the purist saboteurs, she reported, her breath coming in short gasps. They're putting up a hell of a fight, but we're holding them back. For now. Good work, Agent, Michael replied. Keep them occupied as long as you can. We're about to attempt something that could change everything. As Chen's image faded, Michael turned his attention back to the artifact. Dr. Stein and his team had already begun setting up a complex array of equipment, preparing to interface with the alien technology. We're ready, Ambassador, Stein announced, his fingers flying over a holographic control panel. But I must warn you, the risks are substantial. We have no idea how our cybernetic systems will react to this level of energy. Michael stepped forward, his eyes fixed on the shimmering artifact. We're out of options, Doctor. Sometimes the greatest leaps forward require a step into the unknown. With a deep breath, Michael reached out towards the artifact, his cybernetic implants humming with anticipation. As his hand made contact with the shifting surface, a surge of energy coursed through his body, and his world exploded into a kaleidoscope of data and sensation. In that moment, as the power of the Corvidae artifact flowed through him, Michael knew that the fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. The next few seconds would determine whether they would emerge victorious or be overwhelmed by the forces arrayed against them. The sensation was unlike anything Michael had ever experienced. His consciousness expanded, merging with the artifact's vast repository of knowledge. For a moment, he felt as if he could perceive the entire station, every corridor, every life form within it. But there was no time to marvel at this newfound awareness. The station shuddered violently, snapping Michael back to the pressing reality of their situation. Alarms blared, their urgent wails echoing through the chamber. "Ambassador," Dr. Stein's voice cut through the cacophony. "The artifact's energy is destabilizing the station's core. We need to act fast." Michael's enhanced senses picked up multiple threats converging on their position. The purest extremists, their fanatical purpose evident in their relentless advance, were closing in from one direction. From another, the unexpected betrayal of the Corvidae splinter group added a new layer of danger. "Team, defensive positions," Michael commanded, his cybernetic interface allowing him to coordinate their efforts with precision. "We need to hold this room at all costs." As if on cue, the chamber's entrance exploded inward. Through the smoke and debris, the first wave of purist attackers poured in, their weapons blazing with deadly energy. Michael's team reacted instantly, their cybernetically enhanced reflexes allowing them to dodge and return fire with superhuman speed. Zalthor, the Arcturian delegate, moved with fluid grace, his energy manipulation abilities creating shimmering barriers that deflected incoming fire. "Ambassador," he called out, his translator struggling to keep up with his rapid speech. "We cannot hold them off indefinitely." Michael nodded, his mind racing to process the flood of information from both the artifact and the battle raging around them. "Dr. Stein, how close are we to interfacing with the artifact?" Stein's fingers danced across his holographic controls, his cybernetic implants allowing him to work at an incredible pace. "Almost there, Ambassador, but the energy readings are off the charts. I'm not sure our systems can handle it." A deafening screech filled the air as a massive, avian-like figure burst into the room. Krax, the leader of the Corvidae splinter faction, towered over the other combatants. His cybernetic enhancements gleamed under the pulsing emergency lights, giving him an otherworldly appearance. "The artifact belongs to the Corvidae," Krax's voice boomed, his beak-like mouth twisting into a snarl. "Your primitive cybernetics are unworthy of its power." Michael stepped forward, placing himself between Krax and the artifact. "This technology wasn't meant for any one species, Krax. It's meant to be shared, to advance all of us." As Michael spoke, his cybernetic link with the artifact pulsed stronger. He felt a resonance, as if the ancient device was responding to his words, to the very idea of cooperation between species. Suddenly, Major Hawkins's voice crackled through their comms. "Ambassador, we've got a new problem. Admiral Graves's reinforcements have arrived, but so have enemy reinforcements. The space battle is intensifying. We can't hold them off much longer." The chamber shook again, more violently this time. Warning klaxons blared, their urgent tones indicating a critical failure in the station's systems. "The core is going critical," Stein shouted, his face pale with fear. "We have minutes at most before it breaches." Michael made his decision in a split second. "Everyone, link up. We're going to interface with the artifact together." Without hesitation, his team moved into position. Humans, Arcturians, and representatives from other allied species formed a circle around the pulsating artifact. As they joined hands, their diverse cybernetic systems began to synchronize, creating a unique neural pattern. The artifact responded immediately. Its surface rippled and flowed, tendrils of energy reaching out to connect with each member of the team. Michael felt the surge of power course through him, his consciousness expanding beyond the confines of his physical form. In that moment of connection, Michael saw everything: the station's failing systems, the space battle raging outside, the complex web of alliances and conflicts that had led to this moment. But more than that, He saw potential futures branching out before him, each one hinging on the choices made in the next few crucial moments. The artifact's knowledge flowed into him, offering solutions, possibilities, and dangers. He understood now why the Corvidae had left this technology for others to find. It was a test, a way to determine if a species was ready for the next step in cybernetic evolution. As the station's core reached critical levels, Michael made his choice. Through the linked network of his team's cybernetic systems, he began to channel the artifact's power. The station's systems responded, accepting the new input and beginning to stabilize. But the process was nowhere near the end. As Michael directed the artifact's energy to save the station, he felt his own consciousness being pulled deeper into its vast network of knowledge. The risk of losing himself, of being absorbed entirely into the artifact, loomed large. In the physical world, the battle raged on. Purists and Corvidae splinter forces clashed with Michael's team, energy weapons flashing in the chaotic melee. Yet through it all, Michael and his linked team stood unwavering, their minds united in the effort to save not just themselves, but potentially the future of galactic civilization. As the artifact's power surged through the station, upgrading and enhancing its systems beyond anything previously imagined, Michael teetered on the edge of a choice that would change everything. The next moments would determine whether humanity and its allies would emerge as a new force in the galaxy, or if they would fall victim to the very power they sought to control. The fate of multiple civilizations hung in the balance, with Michael at the center of it all, his consciousness stretched between the physical world and the vast, ancient network of the Corvidae artifact. The true test was just beginning. The true test was just starting. Michael's body went rigid, his muscles tensing as the full force of the Corvidae artifact's power surged through him. The cybernetic interface in his mind expanded exponentially, threatening to overwhelm his consciousness. He gritted his teeth, fighting to maintain control as the ancient technology intertwined with his very being. "Ambassador!" Dr. Stein's voice seemed distant, muffled by the roar of energy coursing through Michael's body. "Your vitals are spiking. We need to disengage." "No," Michael managed to growl, his eyes glowing with an otherworldly light. We have to see this through." The artifact pulsed, its surface rippling like liquid mercury. Tendrils of energy snaked out, connecting with the other team members. They gasped in unison as their own cybernetic systems lit up, linking them all in a vast network of shared consciousness. Suddenly, the chamber filled with a blinding light. The artifact's energy field expanded rapidly, engulfing the entire station. The walls seemed to shimmer and change, advanced technology sprouting and integrating seamlessly into the existing structure. Outside, Major Hawkins's voice crackled over the comms, filled with awe and disbelief. "Ambassador, I don't know what you've done, but the station's defenses are online. They're beyond anything we've ever seen." The invading forces, both purist extremists and the unidentified enemy ships, found themselves outmatched in an instant. Energy shields of impossible strength deflected their attacks, while precision counterstrikes disabled their vessels with surgical accuracy. Inside the chamber, the battle took an unexpected turn. Krax and his Corvidae splinter group, who had been fighting to claim the artifact, suddenly staggered back. Their cybernetic implants sparked and sputtered, clearly affected by the massive energy surge. What is happening?" Krax demanded, his avian features contorted in a mix of pain and confusion. Dr. Stein, his eyes wide with amazement, monitored the readings on his holographic display. "The artifact is rewriting the very fundamentals of cybernetic technology. It's evolving our systems beyond anything we thought possible." As the energy pulse subsided, Michael's transformation became apparent to all. His body glowed with an inner light, his cybernetic implants no longer distinct from his organic tissue, but seamlessly integrated. He opened his eyes, now shimmering with the same ethereal energy as the artifact. "I understand now," Michael said, his voice resonating with newfound power and knowledge. "The Corvidae left this as a test, a way to determine which species were ready to join a greater galactic community." He turned to face Krax and the other combatants, his gaze piercing and all-encompassing. "We've proven ourselves worthy, not through individual strength, but through our ability to cooperate, to form alliances in the face of adversity. Krax lowered his weapon, his posture shifting from aggressive to awestruck. Then, the artifact was never meant for the Corvidae alone? Michael shook his head. No, it was meant to be shared, to elevate all sentient life. Your faction's attempt to claim it for yourselves was misguided, but understandable. As Michael spoke, the station continued to transform around them. Walls became transparent, revealing the space battle outside. But even as they watched, the conflict began to subside. Earth's reinforcements, led by Admiral Graves, had gained the upper hand, their ships now augmented by the station's advanced technology. The purest forces fell into disarray, their hidden cybernetic enhancements malfunctioning or overloading. Their hypocrisy laid bare, many surrendered on the spot, while others fled in confusion. Dr. Stein approached Michael cautiously, his scientific curiosity warring with concern for his friend and superior. Ambassador, Michael, are you still you? Michael turned to his old friend, a smile playing at the corners of his mouth. I'm still me, Marcus, but I'm also more. I can see so much now. The history of countless civilizations, technologies beyond our wildest dreams. He paused, his expression growing serious. But with this knowledge comes great responsibility. We've been given a chance to join something greater than ourselves, but it won't be an easy path. As if to underscore his words, alarms began to sound throughout the station. Not warnings of danger, but alerts of incoming transmissions. The galactic community had noticed Earth's sudden leap forward, and they were responding. The Galactic Council is convening an emergency session, Michael announced, the information flowing directly into his enhanced mind. They're concerned about the shift in power dynamics. Krax stepped forward, his earlier hostility replaced by a cautious respect. Then perhaps it's time for new alliances. The Corvidae splinter faction would be honored to stand with Earth as you navigate these new waters. Michael nodded, extending his hand to the avian alien. As they clasped arms, human and Corvidae, it symbolized the dawn of a new era of cooperation. But even as new alliances formed, challenges loomed on the horizon. The remaining purist factions would not give up easily, and many in the galaxy would view Earth's sudden advancement as a threat. Michael turned his gaze to the stars beyond the station, his enhanced senses picking up signals and transmissions from across the galaxy. Earth and its allies stood on the precipice of a new age, one filled with both incredible opportunities and daunting challenges. As the station hummed with its newfound power, Michael knew that their journey was just the beginning. The true test of humanity's readiness for the galactic stage was just beginning, and he would need all of his newfound knowledge and power to guide them through the trials ahead. As the station hummed with its newfound power, Michael's enhanced senses picked up a flurry of incoming transmissions from across the solar system and beyond. The galaxy had taken notice of Earth's sudden leap forward, and the repercussions were already rippling outward. Admiral Jonathan Graves' voice cut through the chatter, his tone a mix of urgency and grit. Ambassador, we need to secure our position. I'm initiating Operation Sentinel, effective immediately. Michael nodded, his newly expanded consciousness processing the implications at lightning speed. Understood, Admiral. We'll need to move quickly. As if on cue, Major Sarah Hawkins strode into the chamber, her eyes widening at the sight of the transformed station and its occupants. Sir, the first wave of retrofitted ships is ready for deployment. We await your orders. Michael turned to Dr. Stein, who was already poring over streams of data flowing from the artifact. Marcus, I need you to lead our research efforts. Focus on developing safeguards for these enhancements. We can't risk losing control. Stein nodded, his fingers flying over holographic displays. On it. I'll assemble a team right away. As Earth's military mobilized to protect its newfound advantage, the station's advanced sensors detected movement at the edge of the solar system. A massive fleet of unknown design had appeared, its ships arrayed in a formation that was neither overtly hostile nor entirely peaceful. Ambassador, one of the communications officers called out, we're receiving a transmission from the unidentified fleet. They're identifying themselves as the Valari. Michael felt a surge of information flow through his enhanced mind. The name triggered a cascade of data from the Corvidae artifact, revealing glimpses of a highly advanced civilization with biotechnology that rivaled their own newfound capabilities. "Put them through," Michael ordered, straightening his posture as he prepared to face this new potential ally or threat. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Admiral Zorn. The Valeri leader's appearance was striking, a blend of organic and technological elements that seemed to flow and shift as he moved. "Greetings, representatives of Earth," Zorn's voice resonated with a strange harmonic quality. "Your recent ascension has not gone unnoticed. We come seeking understanding and, perhaps, cooperation." Michael stepped forward, his own form now a testament to the merging of human and Corvidae technology. "Admiral Zorn, we welcome the opportunity for dialogue. These are unprecedented times for Earth and, it seems, for the galaxy at large." As they exchanged diplomatic pleasantries, alarms blared throughout the station. Dr. Stein's face paled as he read the incoming data. "Michael, we've got a problem. There's been a massive cyber attack on Earth's primary cybernetic enhancement facilities. Systems are failing across the board." The chamber erupted into a flurry of activity. Michael's mind raced, processing the threat, even as he maintained his composure for the Valeri transmission. "Admiral Zorn, I apologize, but we have an urgent situation to address. Perhaps we could continue this discussion at a later time." Zorn's expression shifted, a mix of curiosity and calculation. "Perhaps, or perhaps we could offer our assistance. After all, how Earth handles this crisis will be most illuminating." As Michael weighed the risks and benefits of accepting help from this unknown race, he became aware of another presence in his expanded consciousness. Krax, the Corvidae splinter group leader, stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with newfound respect and a hint of excitement. "Ambassador," Krax interjected, "I have information that may be relevant to this attack. There are forces at work here beyond what you might suspect." Michael nodded, his mind already formulating a plan. He turned to Major Hawkins. "Sarah, coordinate with Admiral Graves. We need to secure our critical infrastructure and trace the source of this attack." To Dr. Stein, he added, "Marcus, work with Krax. See if you can use the Corvidae data to develop a countermeasure to this cyber assault." Finally, he addressed Admiral Zorn, whose image still dominated the view screen. "Admiral, we appreciate your offer. Perhaps a joint task force to investigate this threat would be a good first step in our relations." As the various teams sprang into action, Michael felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. Earth stood on the precipice of a new era, thrust into the complex web of galactic politics. The decisions made in the coming hours and days would shape not only humanity's future, but potentially the fate of the entire galactic community. With a deep breath, Michael prepared himself for the challenges ahead. The journey from isolation to galactic player had begun, and there was no turning back. As the various teams sprang into action, the station's advanced systems suddenly blared with urgent alerts. Dr. Stein's face contorted with shock as he processed the incoming data. "Michael, we've got a massive cyber attack hitting Earth's primary cybernetic enhancement facilities. Systems are failing across the board." Michael's enhanced mind raced, processing the threat even as he maintained his composure for the Valeri transmission. "Admiral Zorn, I apologize, but we have an urgent situation to address. We may need to postpone our discussion." Zorn's expression shifted, a mix of curiosity and calculation. "Perhaps we could offer our assistance. After all, how Earth handles this crisis will be most illuminating." Michael weighed the risks and benefits of accepting help from this unknown race. Before he could respond, Krax stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with newfound respect and a hint of excitement. "Ambassador," Krax interjected, "I have information that may be relevant to this attack. There are forces at work here beyond what you might suspect." Michael nodded, his mind already formulating a plan. He turned to Major Hawkins. "Sarah, coordinate with Admiral Graves. We need to secure our critical infrastructure and trace the source of this attack." To Dr. Stein, he added, "Marcus, work with Krax. See if you can use the Corvidae data to develop a countermeasure to this cyber assault." Finally, he addressed Admiral Zorn, whose image still dominated the view screen. "Admiral, we appreciate your offer. A joint task force to investigate this threat could be a good first step in our relations. As the various teams dispersed to their tasks, Michael felt a surge of energy course through his hybrid form. He closed his eyes, focusing his enhanced abilities on Earth. His consciousness expanded, scanning the planet's digital networks and cybernetic systems. The attack scope became clear: a coordinated assault on Earth's cybernetic infrastructure, causing widespread disruption and chaos. But as Michael probed deeper, he detected something else: numerous sleeper agents embedded in key positions across Earth's governments and military installations. His eyes snapped open. "Admiral Graves," he called urgently, "we have a severe security breach. I'm sending you the details now. We need to neutralize these threats without alerting the public." Graves's holographic image appeared, his face grim. "Understood, Ambassador. I'm initiating a covert operation immediately. We'll handle this quietly." As Earth grappled with its internal security crisis, alarms blared throughout the station. Major Hawkins rushed to a console, her fingers flying over the holographic interface. "Sir, we're receiving distress calls from civilian transports along major trade routes. They're under attack by Arcturian ships?" Michael frowned, processing the information. "Arcturians using stolen Corvidae technology. This is no coincidence." He turned to Hawkins. "Major, assemble a task force of our upgraded vessels. You'll lead the response to this threat. Show them what Earth's new hybrid technology can do." Hawkins nodded sharply, a fierce glint in her eyes. "Yes, sir. We'll make them regret targeting civilians." As Hawkins departed to prepare her fleet, Dr. Stein approached Michael, his face pale but determined. "We've managed to contain the worst of the cyber attack, but our enhancement facilities are still vulnerable. We need to develop better safeguards." Michael nodded. "Agreed. And we need to prepare for the Valeri Summit. Assemble a team of our best experts, human and alien. We'll need their combined knowledge to navigate what's coming." As if on cue, a series of encrypted transmissions from Admiral Zorn's fleet began flooding in. Michael's enhanced mind decrypted them instantly, revealing fragments of intelligence about an impending galactic threat. "Dr. Stein," Michael said, his voice tight with urgency, "prep our most advanced diplomatic vessel. We're heading to the Valeri homeworld." As Earth's delegation prepared for departure, reports came in of increased purist activity near the outer planets. Michael's enhanced senses picked up a surge of anti-cybernetic sentiment spreading across Earth, with protests turning violent in major cities. The Interstellar Cybernetic Alliance faced its first major test as Major Hawkins's task force engaged the rogue Arcturian ships. The space around Neptune lit up with energy weapons and explosions as Earth's upgraded vessels demonstrated their newfound capabilities. Back on Earth, Admiral Graves coordinated the covert operation to root out the sleeper agents. Strike teams moved with surgical precision, neutralizing threats before they could react. As Michael boarded the diplomatic vessel with Dr. Stein and the rest of Earth's delegation, he received an urgent communication from the Galactic Council. Several members, led by the Zeta Reticulan representative, were pushing for Earth's quarantine. Michael's mind raced, processing the multiple crises unfolding simultaneously. As the ship prepared for departure, he sensed a massive energy surge at the edge of the solar system. Before he could investigate, Krax's voice came through the comms. "Ambassador," the Corvidae leader said urgently, "I've arrived on Earth with my advisors. We're ready to assist with upgrading your planetary defenses." Michael hesitated, weighing the offer against the potential risks. But before he could respond, every system on the diplomatic vessel lit up with alerts. An enormous, unknown vessel had appeared at the solar system's edge, dwarfing even the Valeri ships. A message broadcast across all frequencies. "We are the Nexus, hub of the precursor civilization. Earth and its allies will be evaluated. Prepare yourselves." Michael stood frozen, his enhanced mind struggling to process the implications of this new arrival. The galaxy seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see how humanity would respond to this pivotal moment in its history. Michael's enhanced mind reeled from the implications of the Nexus's arrival. The diplomatic mission to the Valeri homeworld suddenly seemed trivial in comparison to this new, potentially existential threat. Before he could fully process the situation, Admiral Graves's holographic image materialized on the bridge of the diplomatic vessel. His face was etched with concern as he addressed Michael and the Earth delegation. "Ambassador Rogers, we're recalling your mission immediately. The arrival of the Nexus changes everything. We need you back on Earth." Michael nodded, his cybernetically augmented senses already picking up the shift in the ship's energy output as the pilot initiated a high-speed turn. The vessel's hybrid engines hummed with power, pushing the limits of their new capabilities as they accelerated back towards Earth. As they raced through space, Michael's consciousness expanded, interfacing with the ship's systems. He could sense the Nexus maintaining its position at the edge of the solar system, broadcasting a continuous signal that seemed to penetrate every corner of Earth's domain. "Dr. Stein," Michael called out, his voice tight with urgency, "what can you tell me about that signal?" Stein's fingers danced over holographic displays, his cybernetic implants allowing him to process data at superhuman speeds. "It's like nothing we've ever seen, Michael. The complexity, it's beyond our current understanding, but it seems to be mapping our entire cybernetic network." Michael frowned, his mind racing through possible implications. "Keep working on it. We need to know what we're dealing with." As their ship hurtled back towards Earth, reports flooded in from across the solar system. The Galactic Council was in chaos, alliances shifting as various races reassessed their positions in light of the Nexus's arrival. Several council members who had previously advocated for Earth quarantine were now pushing for open diplomatic channels, their greed for Earth's technology and precursor knowledge overriding their previous caution. Amidst the galactic upheaval, Earth itself was descending into turmoil. Michael's enhanced senses picked up fragmented transmissions detailing coordinated purist attacks on major cybernetic research facilities. The fanatical Betazoid leader, Drek, had activated sleeper agents across the planet, causing widespread system failures in urban centers. Michael watched in horror as holographic projections showed megacities plunging into darkness, infrastructure collapsing as panic spread through the streets. He turned to Admiral Graves's still-active hologram. "Admiral, what's being done to contain this?" Graves' expression was grim but determined. "I've authorized the deployment of our newly upgraded cybernetic defense forces. Major Hawkins is leading the charge." As if on cue, a tactical display lit up, showing a squadron of enhanced fighters engaging purist strongholds. Michael watched in awe as Major Hawkins and her team demonstrated the overwhelming superiority of Earth's new hybrid technology, effortlessly neutralizing purist resistance. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. Dr. Stein's eyes widened as he processed new data streaming in. "Michael, we're detecting a massive energy buildup from the Nexus." Michael's enhanced vision zoomed in on the distant Earth, just in time to see a powerful energy beam lance out from the precursor vessel. The beam bypassed Earth's new shield system as if it wasn't there, striking a seemingly random location in the Pacific Ocean. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the seafloor began to shift. Michael watched in disbelief as an enormous structure rose from the depths, its alien architecture unmistakably precursor in origin. As the structure emerged, Michael felt a sudden surge of power course through his hybrid form. His consciousness expanded beyond anything he had experienced before, connecting with the activated precursor technology at a level that defied comprehension. Images and information flooded his mind. Fragments of the precursor's vast knowledge, glimpses of ancient conflicts, and hints of a threat so great it had caused this advanced civilization to seed their technology throughout the galaxy. Through his expanded awareness, Michael sensed millions of cybernetically enhanced humans on Earth, experiencing a similar, if less intense, amplification of their abilities. He could feel their confusion and fear as they struggled to control their newfound capabilities. As their ship entered Earth's atmosphere, Michael's attention was drawn to the Nexus, now positioning itself directly above the risen precursor structure. Its massive form cast an ominous shadow over the Pacific Ocean, a silent sentinel watching over the chaos unfolding below. At the edge of the solar system, sensors detected a wave of incoming ships bearing the markings of various Galactic Council races. They came to an abrupt halt, their commanders clearly unsure how to proceed in the face of such an overwhelming display of ancient power. The diplomatic vessel touched down at a secure facility near Earth's primary command center. As Michael disembarked, he was immediately greeted by Admiral Graves and Krax, their faces a mix of relief and concern. "Ambassador," Graves began, his voice tense, "we're on the brink of something big here. The purists are pushing hard, the Galactic Council is in disarray, and now we have this precursor situation to deal with." Krax stepped forward, his alien features set in a grim expression. "The activation of the precursor structure has changed everything, Michael. We need to act fast if we're to have any hope of controlling this situation." Michael nodded, his hybrid mind already formulating strategies and contingencies. He could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on him, the fate of not just humanity, but potentially the entire galaxy hanging in the balance. As they hurried towards the command center, Michael's enhanced senses picked up a tightly encrypted transmission. It was from Admiral Zorn of the Valeri, containing fragmented data about an ancient conflict between the precursors and another highly advanced race known as the Voidwalkers. Michael's eyes widened as he processed the information. The sudden interest of the Nexus in Earth, the activation of the precursor structure, it all pointed to a connection with this long-dormant war. As they entered the command center, a cacophony of alarms and urgent communications assaulted their senses. Holographic displays showed the unfolding chaos across Earth and the solar system. The Nexus loomed large in every projection, a constant reminder of the cosmic scale of the challenges they faced. Michael stepped up to the central command console, his hybrid form radiating an aura of power and purpose. He looked at the assembled leaders of Earth's military and scientific community, each face a mix of fear, drive, and hope. "We stand at a crossroads," Michael began, his voice carrying the weight of his newfound connection to the precursor technology. "The actions we take in the coming hours will shape the future of not just humanity, but potentially all of galactic civilization." As he spoke, Michael could feel the ancient knowledge stirring within him, hinting at the true nature of the threat that had spurred the precursors to such drastic action. Whatever was coming, Earth would need every advantage it could muster to face it. The command center hummed with activity as Earth's leaders prepared to confront the greatest challenge in human history. Outside, the Nexus maintained its vigil over the precursor structure, a silent harbinger of the cosmic drama about to unfold. The fate of humanity and the galaxy hung in the balance. Suddenly, a blinding flash of light erupted from the precursor structure in the Pacific Ocean. An intense energy pulse radiated outward, washing over the planet in seconds. Michael felt a strange tingling sensation as the wave passed through him, but his hybrid physiology remained unaffected. The same couldn't be said for the rest of Earth's population. Chaos erupted as cybernetic enhancements worldwide abruptly shut down. In the command center, screens flickered and died. Personnel stumbled, disoriented by the sudden loss of their augmentations. "What just happened?" Admiral Graves demanded, his voice strained as he struggled to process information without his usual neural interface. Michael's enhanced senses picked up the growing panic across the globe. "The precursor structure," he said, his mind racing. "It emitted some kind of energy pulse. It's disrupted all cybernetic systems on the planet." Alarms blared as reports flooded in from around the world. Cities plunged into darkness as power grids failed. Transportation networks ground to a halt. Hospitals scrambled to maintain life support systems. "We need to get to that structure," Michael said, his voice cutting through the chaos. "It's the key to understanding what's happening." Admiral Graves nodded, quickly issuing orders to prep a transport. As they rushed to the landing pad, Major Sarah Hawkins joined them, her face etched with concern. "The purists are taking advantage of the situation," she reported. "Drek's forces have launched coordinated attacks on our key military installations. They're moving on the precursor structure as we speak." The transport lifted off, streaking towards the Pacific. As they approached, Michael's enhanced vision zoomed in on the massive alien construct rising from the ocean. Its surface pulsed with strange, otherworldly energy. The moment they touched down, Michael felt an irresistible pull. He strode towards the structure, his hybrid form resonating with its ancient power. As he placed his hand on its smooth alien surface, his consciousness expanded exponentially. Information flooded his mind, images, sensations, and knowledge beyond human comprehension. He saw glimpses of an ancient war, of terrifying entities that move between dimensions, consuming entire civilizations. "It's a defense system," Michael gasped, his voice strained as he processed the torrent of information. "The precursors built it to protect Earth from the Void Walkers." As if triggered by his words, the structure began to hum with increasing intensity. The ground trembled beneath their feet as the ancient machine fully activated. Suddenly, another pulse emanated from the structure. This time, instead of disrupting cybernetic enhancements, it supercharged them. Across the planet, enhanced humans found their abilities amplified beyond their wildest dreams, and beyond their control. In major cities, newly empowered individuals inadvertently wreaked havoc as they struggled to contain their enhanced abilities. Buildings crumbled, vehicles were tossed like toys, and electrical systems overloaded in spectacular fashion. Michael watched in horror as the situation spiraled out of control. But before he could formulate a response, alarms blared from their transport's communication system. "Ambassador Rogers!" Admiral Zorn's face appeared on the screen, his alien features twisted in a snarl. "Your planet's defenses are in chaos. The time has come for the Valari to claim what is rightfully ours." A massive Valari battle fleet materialized in orbit, their weapons trained on Earth's now vulnerable orbital defenses. Major Hawkins sprang into action, her enhanced abilities allowing her to remotely connect with Earth's space fleet. "All ships, engage the Valari forces," she commanded, her eyes glowing with cybernetic intensity. "Protect the orbital platforms at all costs." As the space battle erupted overhead, a new threat emerged on the ground. Drek's purest forces, having regrouped after the initial energy pulse, launched a full-scale assault on the precursor structure. Admiral Graves coordinated the defense, deploying newly enhanced ground troops to repel the purest attack. The Pacific coastline became a war zone, with advanced weaponry and superhuman abilities clashing in a display of destructive power. Amidst the chaos, Michael remained connected to the precursor structure, absorbing more of its ancient knowledge. He learned of the Void Walkers, extra-dimensional beings drawn to advanced civilizations, feeding on their technology and life force. As this revelation sank in, the Nexus sprang to life. The massive precursor ship projected an enormous energy shield around Earth, encasing the entire planet in a protective bubble. Moments later, a rift tore open at the edge of the solar system. Through it poured a stream of otherworldly vessels. The Void Walker fleet had arrived. The Galactic Council ships, which had been observing from afar, found themselves caught between two powerful forces. Some fled, while others turned to face the new threat, forming an impromptu alliance with Earth's beleaguered forces. On the ground, Krax coordinated with Earth's military to activate the newly integrated Corvidae shield technology. This created a secondary defensive layer, working in tandem with the Nexus's shield to repel the initial Voidwalker assault. As the battle raged in space and on Earth, Michael made a crucial discovery. The precursor structure was part of a vast network spread throughout the galaxy, all designed to combat the Voidwalker threat. But activating this network required the cooperation of multiple cybernetically advanced species. "Admiral Graves," Michael called out, his voice filled with urgent purpose. "We need to reach out to other civilizations, even those we've considered enemies. It's the only way to activate the full precursor defense network and stop the Voidwalkers." Graves nodded grimly, immediately setting plans in motion for a desperate diplomatic mission. As he worked, the purist faction began to fracture. Some, led by the fanatical Drek, continued their attacks. Others, faced with the reality of the Voidwalker threat, defected to join Earth's defense efforts. The precursor structure continued to evolve, reshaping the surrounding landscape and altering global weather patterns. Michael, his consciousness expanded beyond human limits, struggled to process the vast influx of information while maintaining his grasp on his own identity. As Earth's forces held a tenuous line against the Voidwalkers, the fate of the planet and potentially the entire galaxy hung in the balance. The stage was set for a grand alliance of cybernetically enhanced species to combat the extra-dimensional threat, with Earth and its hybrid technology at the epicenter of this cosmic conflict. Michael stood at the heart of the precursor structure, his hybrid form a bridge between humanity and the ancient technology that might be their only hope. As the battle raged around him, he steeled himself for the challenges ahead, knowing that the true test of humanity's place in the galaxy had only just begun. The immense responsibility greatly troubled on Michael as he processed the ancient knowledge flooding his mind. But there was no time to dwell on the enormity of the situation. Earth needed action, and it needed it now. Admiral Graves's voice cut through the chaos, his tone sharp and decisive. "We need reinforcements. It's time to initiate Operation Galactic Alliance." Michael nodded, understanding the gravity of the decision. Earth couldn't stand alone against the Voidwalkers. He closed his eyes, focusing his expanded consciousness on the task at hand. Through his connection with the precursor structure, he established instant communication links with Earth's diplomatic envoys scattered across the galaxy. As the envoys began their missions, Michael relayed critical information in real time, bridging vast interstellar distances with the power of his hybrid mind. He felt the strain of maintaining these connections, but pushed through, knowing every second counted. The Arcturians were the first to respond. Their deep space transmission crackled with static, but their message was clear. Earth has proven its resilience. We stand with you against this threat. Within hours, a fleet of sleek Arcturian warships emerged from hyperspace, their advanced weapon systems immediately engaging the Voidwalker forces. Meanwhile, Major Sarah Hawkins led Earth's counteroffensive. Her voice rang out over the comm channels, steady and determined. "All wings, form up on me. We're going to hit them hard and fast." Sarah's cybernetically enhanced reflexes allowed her to pilot her craft with inhuman precision. She weaved through the Voidwalker formation, her weapons finding their mark with unerring accuracy. The rest of Earth's pilots followed her lead, their own augmented abilities pushing their ships to the limit. "Now you see," Sarah transmitted to her squadron, "why we embrace this technology. Today, we use it to save our world." On the ground, the scene was one of barely controlled chaos. Cybernetically enhanced humans struggled to control their amplified abilities, their movements leaving trails of destruction in city streets. Amid the pandemonium, a group of purists approached a military checkpoint, their hands raised in surrender. "We were wrong," their leader said, his voice hoarse. "We've seen what these things can do. We want to help." Not all purists shared this change of heart. In a hidden bunker, Drek huddled with his most loyal followers, his eyes wild with fervor. "This is our moment," he hissed. "While they're distracted, we'll strike at the heart of their corruption. That alien monstrosity in the Pacific." As Drek plotted, the Nexus continued its work. Pulses of energy radiated from the massive ship, washing over Earth and its defenders. With each wave, cybernetic implants surged with power. Soldiers found themselves moving faster, thinking quicker. Pilots pushed their crafts to new limits of maneuverability. In a secure underground lab, Dr. Marcus Stein worked feverishly, his augmented mind processing data at an unprecedented rate. Holograms flickered around him, displaying complex energy patterns and dimensional analyses. "Eureka!" he exclaimed, his eyes widening. "They're interdimensional tech. It's vulnerable to specific cybernetic frequencies." The information raced across the global defense network. Within minutes, engineers were modifying weapon systems, recalibrating shields, and updating battle strategies. As Earth's defenses strengthened, Admiral Zorn of the Valari found himself in an unexpected position. His initial attack repelled, his fleet now caught between two powerful forces. He made a decision that would alter the course of the conflict. "Open a channel to Earth Command," he ordered, his mandibles clicking with tension. Admiral Graves's face appeared on the interface, his expression guarded. Zorn spoke quickly. "We propose a truce. Our fleet will join your defense against these interdimensional invaders. In exchange, we ask for access to your hybrid cybernetic technology once this crisis has passed." Before Graves could respond, alarms blared across both fleets. A massive shape emerged from the depths of space, a Voidwalker mothership of staggering proportions. As it approached, a sickly green energy field extended before it, causing cybernetic systems to flicker and fail. Michael, still connected to the precursor structure, felt a jolt of recognition. Ancient memories surfaced in his mind, revealing a potential solution. His voice, laden with the weight of eons, rang out in the command center. There's a precursor superweapon on Mars. It could turn the tide, but it needs a direct cybernetic interface. I'm the only one who can do it. Admiral Graves didn't hesitate. Assemble a strike team immediately. Major Hawkins, Dr. Stein, you're with Michael. We're sending our best to get you there. As the team prepared for their desperate mission to Mars, Krax stepped forward, his alien features set with dedication. I will lead a diversionary attack against the mothership. It will buy you the time you need. Michael nodded gratefully to his alien friend before boarding the sleek stealth vessel that would carry them to Mars. As the ship's engines roared to life, he cast one last look at the embattled Earth. The planet's future, perhaps the future of the entire galaxy, now rested on the success of their mission. The stealth ship shot into the night sky, leaving behind a world in turmoil. Explosions from the space battle illuminated their ascent, a stark reminder of the stakes they faced. As they broke through the atmosphere, Michael's mind raced with possibilities and dangers. The precursor's superweapon was their last, best hope, but what price would they have to pay to use it? The stealth ship shot into the night sky, leaving behind a world in turmoil. Explosions from the space battle illuminated their ascent, a stark reminder of the stakes they faced. As they broke through the atmosphere, Michael's mind raced with possibilities and dangers. The precursor superweapon was their last, best hope, but what price would they have to pay to use it? As their vessel accelerated towards Mars, the situation on Earth deteriorated rapidly. The Voidwalker mothership, a colossal structure of impossible geometry, advanced inexorably towards the planet. Its approach brought with it a wave of disruption that swept across Earth's defenses like a digital plague. In the fortified underground command center, Admiral Jonathan Graves watched with growing alarm as reports flooded in. Cybernetic enhancements across the globe began to malfunction, leaving enhanced soldiers struggling with suddenly unreliable abilities. "Sir, we're losing our edge," a young lieutenant reported, her voice tight with tension. "Cybernetic failure rates are skyrocketing across all sectors." Graves's mind focused, but his voice remained steady as he issued orders. "Initiate Protocol Omega. Activate all reserve non-enhanced units in legacy weapon systems." Across the planet, armies of unaugmented soldiers emerged from hidden bunkers, their outdated weaponry now Earth's primary line of defense. Tanks rolled out onto city streets, their treads crushing debris from earlier battles. Conventional fighter jets took to the skies, replacing the cybernetically linked craft now rendered useless. In orbit, Krax led his coalition of Corvidae and Arcturian ships in a daring assault against the Voidwalker mothership. His vessel darted between larger Arcturian warships, coordinating their attacks with precision. "Focus fire on Sector 7, Krax commanded, his voice carrying over the din of battle. "We've detected a fluctuation in their shields." The Allied fleet unleashed a barrage of energy weapons, momentarily overwhelming the mothership's defenses. But for every small victory, the cost was high. Krax watched as ship after ship in his fleet succumbed to the Voidwalker's superior firepower. On Mars, Michael's team touched down near the coordinates of the hidden precursor weapon. The red planet's barren landscape stretched out before them, broken only by rocky outcroppings and ancient impact craters. "Stay alert," Major Sarah Hawkins warned as they disembarked. "This may be Mars, but we're not alone." Her words proved prophetic. As they began their search, the whine of energy weapons filled the air. A group of purist extremists, their armor adorned with anti-cybernetic symbols, emerged from hidden bunkers. "For a pure humanity," their leader Voss cried out, "stop them at all costs." The Martian surface erupted into chaos. Sarah led her team in a flanking maneuver, using the low gravity to make impossibly long jumps between cover. Despite the Voidwalker interference weakening their enhancements, their training and purpose kept them fighting effectively. Dr. Marcus Stein hunched behind a rock formation, his eyes darting between a handheld scanner and the battlefield around him. "Michael," he called out, "I'm picking up massive energy readings from that ridge. The weapon has to be there." Michael nodded, then sprinted towards the indicated location. His hybrid physiology allowed him to push through the Voidwalker interference better than his fully human companions. He reached the ridge and placed his hand against the rock face, feeling for any hint of hidden precursor technology. Suddenly, the ground beneath him shifted. A massive door hidden for millennia beneath Martian dust began to grind open. As it did, Michael's mind was flooded with information. Glimpses of the precursor civilization, their war against the Voidwalkers, and the terrible power of the weapon they had created. The team fought their way into the revealed complex, purist forces hot on their heels. They raced through ancient corridors, marveling at the scale of the precursor architecture. In the central chamber, they found what they sought, a colossal crystalline structure that pulsed with latent energy. "This is it," Michael breathed, approaching the core of the superweapon. "This can turn the tide against the Voidwalkers." Before he could interface with the device, an urgent transmission cut through their comms. Admiral Graves's voice, tight with barely controlled fear, filled their ears. "The mothership has broken through our outer defenses. It's in low orbit now. Whatever you're going to do, it needs to happen now. Earth can't hold out much longer." Michael steeled himself and reached out to connect with the precursor weapon. As his consciousness merged with the ancient system, he felt the strain immediately. The weapon's power was beyond anything he had experienced, threatening to overwhelm his sense of self. Around him, the sounds of battle intensified as Voss and his purists launched a final assault on the chamber. Sarah and her team formed a protective ring around Michael and the weapon, engaging in fierce close-quarters combat. Energy began to build within the crystalline structure, arcing out in brilliant tendrils of light. Michael struggled to maintain control, his body trembling with the effort. The fate of Earth, of the entire galaxy, now rested on his ability to fully activate and direct this ancient power. As the weapon reached critical levels of energy, Michael felt his grip on reality starting to slip. The vast alien consciousness embedded in the system threatened to subsume his own mind. Yet he held on, knowing that failure now would mean the end of everything he fought to protect. Protect in the weight of 1 billion lives pressing down on his consciousness. The ancient precursor technology surged through him, threatening to overwhelm his very being. Suddenly, the crystalline structure before him pulsed with blinding intensity. A shockwave of energy rippled outward, causing the chamber to shudder violently. The purest forces attacking the complex stumbled, their weapons falling silent as the pulse washed over them. Sarah Hawkins steadied herself against a nearby pillar, her eyes wide with awe and concern. "Michael!" she called out. "What's happening?" But Michael couldn't respond. His mind was awash in a sea of alien data, centuries of precursor knowledge flooding his synapses. Through the haze of information, a startling revelation emerged. This was no mere weapon, but a key to the very fabric of reality itself. As Michael grappled with this newfound understanding, the battle for Earth reached its crescendo. Admiral Graves's voice crackled through their comms, strained and urgent. "The mothership has broken through. It's in low orbit now. We need that weapon operational immediately." Dr. Stein frantically worked at a nearby console, his fingers flying over alien symbols. "The energy buildup is off the charts," he reported. "If we don't stabilize it soon, the entire complex could go critical." Outside the precursor facility, the Martian sky blazed with unearthly light. The superweapon's activation sent pulses of energy rippling across the planet's surface, disrupting all electronic systems in its wake. Back on Earth, chaos reigned. The Voidwalker mothership loomed over the planet, its massive form blotting out the sun in many regions. Energy beams lanced down from the vessel, carving swaths of destruction through Earth's remaining defenses. In his underground command center, Admiral Graves watched in horror as reports of devastation poured in from around the globe. Major cities lay in ruins, their defenses crumbling under the relentless assault. "Sir," a lieutenant called out, her voice quavering, "we've lost contact with the eastern seaboard. The Voidwalkers have—" Her words were cut short as another tremor shook the command center. Graves steadied himself against a console, his eyes sharp. Keep our remaining forces focused on protecting civilian evacuation zones, he ordered. And someone get me a status update on that Mars mission. In orbit, Krax's coalition fleet engaged in a desperate battle against the Voidwalker Armada. His ships darted between the lumbering enemy vessels, their weapons flaring in the darkness of space. "Target their propulsion systems!" Krax barked, his mandibles clicking rapidly. "We need to slow their advance at all costs." A nearby Arcturian cruiser erupted in a ball of fire, cut in two by a Voidwalker energy beam. Krax watched as the debris scattered across the starfield, a grim reminder of the price they were paying for every moment of resistance. On the bridge of his command ship, Krax made a decision. "All vessels, this is Commander Krax," he transmitted. "Prepare for Protocol Omega. We're taking the fight directly to their mothership." Back on Mars, the precursor complex shuddered under the strain of the superweapons activation. Sarah Hawkins and her team had successfully repelled the last of the purest attackers, but now faced a new threat as the ancient structure threatened to tear itself apart. "We need to evacuate," Sarah shouted over the din of grinding stone and screeching metal. "This whole place could come down on our heads at any moment." Dr. Stein looked up from his console, his face pale with realization. "We can't. If we leave now, all of this will have been for nothing. The weapon needs a direct cybernetic interface to function properly. Michael is the only one who can control it." Sarah turned to Michael, still locked in silent communion with the precursor systems. His body trembled with the effort of containing the vast energies coursing through him. "Michael," Sarah called out, "can you hear me? We need to know if you can do this." For a moment there was no response. Then slowly, Michael turned to face them. His eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and when he spoke, his voice seemed to echo with the weight of eons. "I understand now," he said, his words reverberating through the chamber. "This is not just a weapon, it's a gateway." Before Sarah could ask for clarification, the complex rocked with another violent tremor. Cracks spread across the ancient walls, and dust rained down from the vaulted ceiling. "We're out of time," Dr. Stein announced, his voice tight with fear. "Whatever we're going to do, it needs to happen now." Michael nodded, turning back to the pulsing, crystalline core. "Get to safety," he said, his voice distant as if already half lost to the alien consciousness. "I'll finish this." Sarah hesitated, torn between her duty to protect Michael and the need to ensure the mission's success. Finally, she made her decision. "Everyone out," she ordered, ushering her team toward the exit. "Move it! Double time!" As they raced through the crumbling corridors of the precursor complex, Sarah cast one last glance over her shoulder. Michael stood alone in the heart of the ancient machine, his form silhouetted against the blinding light of the superweapon's core. Outside, the Martian landscape had been transformed. The sky boiled with energy, and great fissures had opened in the planet's surface. As Sarah and her team emerged from the complex, they were greeted by a sight that stole the breath from their lungs. High above, visible even through Mars' thin atmosphere, a colossal vortex of energy had begun to form. The interdimensional rift, the key to humanity's salvation, was taking shape before their very eyes. But as the rift grew, so did the sense of impending doom. For on the horizon, a new threat loomed. The Voidwalker mothership, having broken off its assault on Earth, now barreled toward Mars with terrifying speed. The final battle for the fate of two worlds, and perhaps the entire galaxy, was about to begin. The Voidwalker mothership, having abandoned its assault on Earth, hurtled towards Mars with terrifying speed. Its massive form blotted out the stars as it approached, casting an ominous shadow over the red planet's surface. Inside the precursor complex, Michael Rogers stood at the heart of the ancient machine, his consciousness intertwined with the alien technology. Energy coursed through his body, each pulse threatening to tear him apart. With a Herculean effort, he initiated the final phase of his desperate plan. The sky above Mars erupted in a dazzling display of light and color as the interdimensional rift expanded. The massive energy field surrounding the planet intensified, creating a powerful gravitational pull that reached out into space. The Voidwalker mothership, despite its advanced technology, found itself caught in the grip of this irresistible force. On Earth, Admiral Jonathan Graves watched the unfolding events with a mixture of hope and trepidation. The few remaining functional satellites transmitted crucial telemetry data, confirming that the mothership was indeed being drawn towards the rift above Mars. Graves's voice rang out through the command center. All remaining Earth and Allied ships, clear the area around Mars immediately. Create a safe zone to avoid the rift's pull. I repeat, clear the area now. As the order went out, Krax's coalition fleet and the remnants of Earth's space forces engaged in a fierce battle with the Voidwalker escort vessels. The smaller enemy ships attempted to interfere with the rift's formation, forcing the Allied fleet to prevent them from reaching the Martian surface. Krax's mandibles clicked rapidly as he issued orders to his pilots. Concentrate fire on their propulsion systems. We cannot allow them to disrupt the rift. The space around Mars became a chaotic battlefield, punctuated by explosions and streaks of weapons fire. Allied ships darted between the lumbering Voidwalker vessels, their engines straining as they fought to stay clear of the rift's increasing pull. On the Martian surface, the situation grew dire. The Voidwalker mothership, now fully caught in the rift's grasp, unleashed a barrage of energy weapons at the precursor complex. The ancient structure's defenses activated, creating a shimmering protective shield that barely withstood the assault. Inside the facility, Major Sarah Hawkins felt the ground shudder beneath her feet. Dust and debris rained down from the ceiling as the complex groaned under the strain of the attack. She knew they couldn't abandon Michael, not when they were so close to victory. "Team, we're going back in," she announced, her voice steady despite the chaos around them. "We need to reinforce the complex's structural integrity and ensure Michael can complete the banishment process." As Sarah led her small group of cybernetically enhanced soldiers back into the facility, they encountered unexpected resistance. Voss and his remaining purist forces had seized the opportunity to make one last attempt at sabotaging the superweapon. "For the purity of humanity," Voss cried out, his eyes wild with fanaticism. "We cannot allow this abomination to continue." Sarah and her team found themselves engaged in close-quarters combat, fighting their way through collapsing corridors and malfunctioning defense systems. The complex had become a dangerous maze of activated traps and force fields, adding to the peril of their mission. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Marcus Stein worked feverishly with a team of scientists, analyzing the energy readings from Mars. His face paled as he realized the gravity of their situation. "Admiral Graves," Stein reported, his voice tight with urgency. "The power required to fully open and maintain the rift is exceeding the superweapon's design capacity. If these energy levels continue to rise unchecked, the resulting explosion could destroy Mars and potentially spread devastation throughout the solar system." Graves absorbed the information, his mind racing through possible solutions. "Deploy the experimental faster-than-light communication array," he ordered. "It's our only hope of reaching Mars through this interference. We must warn Michael of the impending overload." As Earth scientists scrambled to activate the untested communication system, the battle above Mars reached a fever pitch. The Voidwalker mothership, now at the edge of the rift, began to break apart under the immense gravitational forces. Massive chunks of the vessel tore away, creating a deadly debris field that threatened both Mars and the Allied fleet. Krax, his tactical mind working overtime, coordinated a daring maneuver. "All ships with functional tractor beams, form up," he commanded. "We must deflect the largest pieces of debris away from Mars and into the rift." The Allied ships moved into position, their tractor beams straining as they attempted to guide the massive chunks of the mothership away from the planet below. The space around Mars became a dangerous obstacle course, with ships weaving between debris and enemy fire. Inside the precursor complex, Michael Rogers stood at the center of a maelstrom of energy. His consciousness, still merged with the ancient systems, became aware of the building overload. The realization hit him with crushing force. To complete the banishment of the Voidwalkers and seal the rift, he would need to channel even more power through the superweapon, and through himself. As Michael grappled with this knowledge, Sarah Hawkins and her team fought their way closer to the central chamber. They battled through waves of purest forces, the complex shuddering around them with each passing moment. Suddenly, A distorted but recognizable voice broke through the chaos. Earth's faster-than-light communication had finally penetrated the interference. Admiral Graves's words, filled with urgency, echoed through the complex. "Michael, if you can hear me, be warned. The superweapon is approaching critical overload. The explosion could devastate the entire system. Exercise extreme caution." But Michael knew that caution was no longer an option. With the Voidwalker mothership halfway through the rift and the fate of the galactic realm hanging in the balance, he made his decision. Drawing upon reserves of strength he didn't know he possessed, Michael began the final power surge. Unprecedented levels of energy coursed through the precursor systems and Michael's hybrid physiology. The complex shuddered violently, cracks spreading across its ancient walls and through the Martian surface surrounding the facility. Sarah and her team, having finally fought past the last of Voss's forces, reached the central chamber. They burst through the doors just as Michael initiated the final sequence, his body enveloped in a blinding aura of energy. The fate of humanity, and indeed the entire galaxy, now rested on the success of this bold strategy. As the precursor complex teetered on the verge of collapse and the Voidwalker mothership was drawn inexorably into the interdimensional rift, Michael pushed both the ancient superweapon and his own cybernetically enhanced body beyond their limits. The chamber filled with a deafening roar as reality itself seemed to bend and warp around them. Sarah and her team braced themselves against the onslaught of energy, watching in awe and terror as Michael's form began to blur, becoming one with the pulsing heart of the precursor machine. Energy arced through the air, crackling with raw power as Michael's form became increasingly indistinct, merging with the pulsing heart of the precursor technology. Suddenly, the complex shuddered violently, nearly throwing Sarah and her team off their feet. The walls groaned ominously, cracks spiderwebbing across ancient stone and metal. Sarah's cybernetic enhancements immediately fed her critical data. The facility's structural integrity was failing rapidly under the immense energy buildup. "We need to stabilize the complex," Sarah shouted over the deafening roar of power surging through the chamber. "Everyone interface with the nearest control panel. We'll redirect power flows and reinforce containment fields." Her team sprang into action, their cybernetic implants connecting seamlessly with the alien technology. Sarah felt the familiar rush of data flooding her consciousness as she tapped into the precursor systems. She worked furiously, her augmented mind racing to comprehend and manipulate the complex energy matrices. Outside, the Martian sky had transformed into a swirling maelstrom of light and color. The interdimensional rift expanded at an alarming rate, its vortex now visible even from Earth. The Voidwalker mothership, caught in the rift's inexorable pull, began to break apart. Massive chunks of the alien vessel tore away, hurtling towards Mars. In orbit, Krax's voice rang out over the comms. "All ships with functional tractor beams, form up. We must deflect this debris away from the planet's surface." The Allied fleet moved with practiced precision, their tractor beams locking onto the largest pieces of the disintegrating mothership. Streams of energy connected ship to debris, guiding the deadly projectiles away from Mars and into the hungry maw of the rift. On Earth, Admiral Graves watched the unfolding chaos with growing concern. The faster-than-light communication array crackled to life, transmitting real-time data from Mars. His face paled as he saw the readings. "My God," he breathed, then snapped into action. "This is Admiral Graves. All remaining personnel on Mars, evacuate immediately. I repeat, evacuate immediately. This order excludes Michael Rogers and Major Hawkins' team." He paused, his hand hovering over a secure terminal. With a grim expression, he entered a complex series of commands. Initiating Protocol Omega. All orbital defense platforms prepare to contain potential fallout from the Martian operation. Back in the precursor complex, Michael pushed himself beyond all conceivable limits. His hybrid physiology strained under the enormous energy load, cybernetic components overheating and malfunctioning. Yet he persevered, drawing upon reserves of strength he never knew he possessed. The central chamber became a maelstrom of pure energy. Arcs of power lashed out in all directions, forcing Sarah and her team to retreat to the outer sections of the facility. They worked tirelessly, their cybernetic enhancements allowing them to maintain some control over the rapidly deteriorating situation. Suddenly, the ground beneath their feet began to shake violently. Sarah's team struggled to maintain their footing as the tremors intensified. Through their connection to the precursor systems, they witnessed a terrifying development. Massive fissures were opening up across the Martian surface, releasing plumes of superheated gas and molten rock. "The planet's breaking apart," one of Sarah's team members shouted, his voice tinged with panic. Sarah gritted her teeth, focusing on the task at hand. "Stay calm. We need to keep this facility intact long enough for Michael to complete the banishment." As if in response to her words, the complex lurched sickeningly. For a heart-stopping moment, Sarah thought the ancient structure would collapse. Then, to her astonishment, she felt a sensation of weightlessness. Through the facility's sensors, she realized what was happening. The entire precursor complex was lifting off from the Martian surface. "Impossible," she whispered, watching as the ground fell away beneath them. The complex, encased in a shimmering energy field, rose steadily into the turbulent Martian atmosphere. In the central chamber, Michael experienced a moment of perfect clarity. His consciousness, now fully integrated with the precursor systems, perceived a solution that had seemed impossible mere moments ago. With unwavering focus, he began to reconfigure the energy flow, creating a feedback loop that would amplify the rift's power while containing its effects. As the precursor complex ascended towards the swirling vortex of the interdimensional rift, Michael channeled every ounce of power at his disposal. The facility, now acting as a mobile focusing array for the superweapon, began to direct the full fury of the rift towards the remnants of the Voidwalker mothership. The massive alien vessel, caught between the gravitational pull of the rift and the energy assault from the precursor weapon, started to collapse in on itself. Its hull buckled and twisted, folding into impossible geometries as it was drawn inexorably towards oblivion. Sarah and her team watched in awe as the complex breached the upper layers of Mars's atmosphere. The Voidwalker mothership loomed before them, a broken leviathan silhouetted against the star-studded backdrop of space. Arcs of energy connected the precursor facility to the alien vessel, the stream of power growing more intense with each passing second. In that moment, suspended between worlds, the fate of Mars, Earth, and the entire galaxy hung in the balance. Michael Rogers, his hybrid form now barely recognizable as human, poured every fiber of his being into this final, high-stakes endeavor. Sarah Hawkins and her team fought to keep the ascending precursor complex from flying apart, their cybernetic systems pushed to the breaking point. As the Voidwalker mothership began its final plunge into the interdimensional rift, a blinding flash of light erupted from the point of contact. The fabric of space-time itself seemed to warp and twist, the boundaries between dimensions blurring in a spectacular display of cosmic power. The battle for humanity's survival had reached its crescendo, and the next few moments would determine the course of galactic history. The blinding flash subsided, revealing the precursor complex suspended in Mars' upper atmosphere, surrounded by a shimmering energy field. Michael Rogers, his form now a pulsing nexus of light and cybernetic components, redoubled his efforts to complete the Voidwalker banishment. Sarah Hawkins and her team, their cybernetic implants working overtime, fought to maintain the complex's structural integrity as it ascended. The facility shuddered and groaned, ancient alloys straining under the immense gravitational forces. "Reroute power from non-essential systems?" Sarah barked, her fingers flying over holographic interfaces. "We need to reinforce those containment fields." As the complex rose higher, the team felt the disorienting effects of fluctuating gravity. Their cybernetic enhancements automatically engaged adaptive compensation systems, allowing them to maintain their footing and continue their work. In Earth's command center, Admiral Jonathan Graves received a burst of data from the faster-than-light communication array. His eyes widened as he processed the information. "The rift is stabilizing," he announced to the tense room. "Rogers' reconfiguration is working. Extend the countdown by 5 minutes. Give him more time to complete the operation." In orbit around Mars, Krax coordinated the remaining ships of the Allied fleet. Energy weapons flashed, vaporizing smaller debris fragments from the disintegrating Voidwalker mothership. "Maintain defensive formation," Krax ordered. We must protect the ascending complex at all costs. The Allied ships moved with practiced precision, creating a protective zone around the precursor facility. Their efforts allowed Michael to focus entirely on the banishment process, free from the threat of orbital debris. Back on Earth, Dr. Marcus Stein frowned at his holographic display. "Admiral Graves, we're detecting anomalous readings around Mars," he reported. "The energy output from the precursor complex is creating localized space-time distortions." Graves leaned in, studying the data. "What's the potential impact?" "The distortions could disrupt the orbits of Phobos and Deimos," Stein explained. "If left unchecked, we could be looking at a cascade of gravitational effects throughout the Martian system." Graves' mind raced through potential solutions. "The gravity tractor satellites," he muttered. "Deploy them immediately. Repurpose them to stabilize the moon's orbits." A flurry of activity erupted as the order was relayed. Within minutes, a small fleet of unmanned ships carrying the experimental devices launched from Earth, racing towards Mars. As the precursor complex breached Mars's exosphere, the true scope of Michael's plan became apparent. The facility began emitting precisely calibrated energy pulses, each one strengthening the fabric of space-time around the interdimensional rift. Inside the complex, Michael's consciousness expanded, fusing more deeply with the precursor systems. New neural pathways formed, allowing him to process vast amounts of data and fine-tune the banishment process with unprecedented precision. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the facility. Sarah's team detected a new threat emerging from the Voidwalker mothership. "Multiple contacts," one of her team members shouted. "Smaller craft, swarming from the mothership." Sarah's enhanced vision zoomed in on the emerging threat. "They're packed with exotic matter," she realized. "They're trying to disrupt the rift's integrity." In orbit, Krax saw the swarm emerge. Without hesitation, he opened a channel to the Earth fleet. "All available fighters, form up on me. We must intercept that swarm before they reach the rift." A squadron of Earth's most advanced fighters joined Krax's ships, engaging the Voidwalker swarm in a furious battle on the edge of Mars's atmosphere. Energy weapons flashed, and explosions blossomed in the void as the two forces clashed. On Earth, global defense systems lit up with warnings. Admiral Graves received urgent reports from his staff. "Sir, we're detecting multiple spatial anomalies forming in low Earth orbit," an officer reported. "They're byproducts of the energy transfer at Mars. Our satellite networks are at risk, and we could see damage to orbital infrastructure if this continues." Graves' teeth gritted in a grim line. "Initiate Operation Orbital Shield," he ordered. "Activate all energy dissipation arrays. Protect our orbital assets at all costs." As Earth's defenses sprang to life, the battle around Mars reached its crescendo. The precursor complex, now positioned at the optimal point between the planet and the interdimensional rift, began its final sequence. The facility's outer structure shifted and reconfigured, forming a massive energy-focusing array. This new configuration amplified the power of the precursor superweapon to unprecedented levels. A concentrated beam of pure energy erupted from the array, engulfing the remaining bulk of the Voidwalker mothership. The alien vessel's hull buckled and warped under the assault, its structural integrity failing rapidly. Inside the complex, Michael Rogers pushed himself beyond all conceivable limits. His hybrid form pulsed with power, cybernetic components fusing even more deeply with his organic tissue. Sarah and her team worked feverishly to maintain the complex's stability, their enhanced bodies and minds operating at peak efficiency. Through their connection to the precursor systems, they felt the immense energies flowing through the facility. As the Voidwalker mothership was pulled deeper into the rift, its edges flaring with bursts of exotic particles, Michael prepared for the final push. The fate of two worlds, and countless others beyond, rested on his ability to seal the rift and complete the banishment of the Voidwalkers. The cosmic battle had reached its tipping point, with the next few moments poised to determine the future of the galaxy. The cosmic battle had reached its tipping point, with the next few moments poised to determine the future of humanity and countless other species across the galaxy. Michael Rogers, his hybrid form now a pulsing nexus of energy and cybernetic components, channeled every ounce of his being into the final phase of the banishment process. The precursor complex, fully reconfigured into a massive energy-focusing array, emitted a concentrated beam of pure power that engulfed the remaining bulk of the Voidwalker mothership. The intensity of the beam increased exponentially, causing the alien vessel's outer hull to buckle and disintegrate under the onslaught. In Mars orbit, a new development unfolded as the gravity tractor satellites deployed by Earth forces reached their designated positions around Phobos and Deimos. The device is activated with a soft hum, generating localized gravitational fields that counteracted the space-time distortions caused by the rift. The moon's erratic movements gradually stabilized, their orbits returning to their natural paths. On Earth, Admiral Jonathan Graves stood rigid before a holographic display, his eyes fixed on the incoming data from the faster-than-light communication array. The telemetry indicated that the Voidwalker mothership was now 90% through the rift, but the energy required to complete the banishment was causing severe strain on the precursor complex's systems. Graves' voice cut through the tense atmosphere of the command center. Activate the long-range energy projection satellites. Redirect all available power to support the final push. As Earth's orbital assets sprung into action, the battle around Mars intensified. Krax's fleet and Earth space fighters continued their relentless assault against the remaining Voidwalker swarm. The Allied forces employed a daring new tactic, using the gravitational fluctuations around the rift to their advantage. All units execute maneuver Omega-3, Krax's voice crackled over the comms. Use the gravity wells to funnel those bastards into the rift. The space around the interdimensional tear became a dizzying ballet of ships and energy weapons. Allied fighters danced between pockets of intense gravity, luring Voidwalker craft into zones where they were crushed by the immense forces, or pulled inexorably into the rift alongside their doomed mothership. Inside the precursor complex, Major Sarah Hawkins and her team worked with frantic precision to maintain the facility's structural integrity. The air crackled with ozone as immense energies coursed through the ancient systems. Suddenly, a series of explosions rocked the complex as several power conduits overloaded. Reroute power through secondary and tertiary systems, Sarah shouted, her fingers flying over holographic interfaces. Her team's Cybernetic enhancements allowed them to interface directly with the precursor technology, their minds processing vast amounts of data in milliseconds. As the banishment neared completion, alarms blared throughout the complex. Sarah's enhanced vision zoomed in on a massive spherical object ejected from the dying Voidwalker mothership. "New contact," she yelled. "Unknown device on a direct course for Mars." The sensors on Earth and in the Allied fleet quickly identified the object as a doomsday device, capable of triggering a chain reaction that could annihilate the entire solar system. Admiral Graves's face paled as he received the data. Without hesitation, he gave the order. Launch the antimatter warheads. Authorization code Omega Epsilon 9. A sleek, fast attack vessel detached from Earth's orbital defense platform, its engines flaring bright as it accelerated towards Mars. The ship carried a payload of 3 experimental antimatter warheads, humanity's last line of defense against the Voidwalker's impossible risk. Michael Rogers, his consciousness now inextricably linked with the precursor systems, detected the approaching doomsday device. With a thought, he redirected a portion of the energy beam, splitting it to target both the Voidwalker mothership and the incoming threat. The strain on the complex intensified, and several outer sections broke apart, pulled into the swirling vortex of the rift. The antimatter warhead-equipped ship raced against time, dodging debris and energy discharges from the collapsing rift. Its pilot, a seasoned veteran of countless space engagements, pushed the craft to its absolute limits. "Target acquired," the pilot's calm voice reported over the comms. "Launching warheads in 3, 2, 1. 3 sleek missiles streaked away from the ship, their guidance systems compensating for the gravitational anomalies surrounding the rift. They closed in on the Voidwalker doomsday device with unerring precision. In a blinding flash that momentarily outshone the stars, the antimatter warheads detonated. The localized reaction engulfed the doomsday device, creating a sphere of pure annihilation that expanded outward before collapsing in on itself. The resulting shockwave rippled through space, temporarily disrupting the energy beam from the precursor complex. Michael Rogers, his hybrid mind processing information at speeds beyond human comprehension, quickly recalibrated the beam. The complex shuddered under the strain, its structural integrity reaching critical levels. As the last remnants of the Voidwalker mothership disappeared into the rift, Michael initiated the sealing process. The precursor complex channeled an enormous surge of energy into the rift's edges, causing them to contract rapidly. The swirling vortex began to shrink, pulling in the remaining debris from the battle. Sarah Hawkins and her team watched in awe as the interdimensional rift collapsed in on itself, sealing shut with a final, cataclysmic burst of energy. Their moment of triumph was short-lived as the precursor complex, having fulfilled its ancient purpose, began to break apart around them. "All personnel, evacuate immediately," Sarah ordered, her cybernetic systems interfacing with the complex's emergency protocols. Escape pods ejected from the disintegrating facility, carrying Sarah and her team to safety. Michael Rogers remained within the core of the complex, his hybrid form pulsing with the last vestiges of precursor energy. As the facility crumbled around him, he focused his immense processing power on a final task, the nature of which remained a mystery to those watching from afar. The cosmic battle had ended, but its repercussions were only beginning to unfold. As the escape pods drifted away from the remnants of the precursor complex, the Allied fleet moved in to retrieve the survivors. The fate of Earth, Mars, and countless other worlds hung in the balance, with the true consequences of the Voidwalker's banishment yet to be revealed. The cosmic battle had ended, but its repercussions were only beginning to unfold. As the escape pods drifted away from the remnants of the precursor complex, the Allied fleet moved in to retrieve the survivors. Suddenly, a massive electromagnetic pulse erupted from the collapsing rift, spreading outward from Mars like an invisible tidal wave. Krax's flagship shuddered as the pulse washed over it, causing systems to flicker and fail. "All hands, brace for impact," he roared, gripping his command chair as the ship's artificial gravity fluctuated wildly. Throughout the fleet, ships lost power and began to drift aimlessly in space. Emergency backup systems kicked in, but the damage was done. The rescue operation ground to a halt as the Allied forces found themselves temporarily crippled. On Earth, Admiral Graves leaned over a console, his face illuminated by the flashing red emergency lights. "Status report," he barked, his eyes scanning the rapidly changing data streams. A young officer responded, her voice tense. "Sir, we've lost long-range communications with the Mars operation. The electromagnetic pulse has knocked out our primary systems. We're switching to backup relays now." Graves nodded grimly. "What about our defense grid?" Before the officer could respond, another voice cut in. "Admiral, we're detecting multiple objects entering Earth's atmosphere. Debris from the battle, sir. It's spreading across the globe." Graves' mind raced, calculating potential impact zones and damage assessments. "Activate all planetary defense systems. I want every major city's shields up and running. And get me a direct line to every regional commander. We need to coordinate our response now." As Earth mobilized to face this new threat, the situation on Mars was evolving rapidly. The energy signature left by the collapsed precursor complex pulsed weakly, descending towards the planet's surface. Krax, his ship's systems partially restored, noticed the anomaly on his scanners. "Assemble a team," he ordered his second-in-command. "We're going down there." As Krax's shuttle broke through the thin Martian atmosphere, the planet's surface came into view. What they saw left them speechless. Vast swathes of the red planet were transforming before their eyes. Pockets of green vegetation sprouted from the once barren soil, and pools of liquid water glistened in the sunlight. "By the stars," Krax whispered, his alien features contorting in awe. "It's terraforming the planet." Their shuttle's sensors led them to a newly formed oasis in the planet's northern hemisphere. As they touched down, Krax and his team stepped out into an environment that shouldn't have existed on Mars. The air was thin but breathable, and the ground beneath their feet was damp and fertile. At the center of the oasis, surrounded by a shimmering energy field, lay Michael Rogers. His body had undergone a startling transformation, more machine now than man. Tendrils of precursor technology snaked across his skin, pulsing with an otherworldly light. Krax approached cautiously, his scanner beeping urgently. "He's alive," he announced, "but I've never seen readings like this. It's as if he's become a conduit for the precursor energy itself." As Krax's team prepared to extract Michael, the oasis around them began to expand at an alarming rate. Trees sprouted from the ground in a matter of seconds, and streams of water carved new paths through the transforming landscape. "We need to move now," Krax shouted, motioning for his team to carry Michael back to the shuttle. As they lifted off, the alien commander opened a channel to the fleet. "This is Krax. The situation on Mars is critical. The planet is undergoing rapid terraformation. We need to establish a quarantine zone immediately." Back on Earth, the global defense network sprang into action as debris from the space battle entered the atmosphere. In New York, the city's energy shield flared to life, deflecting a large fragment that exploded harmlessly in the upper atmosphere. Similar scenes played out in cities across the planet as humanity's technological defenses were put to the ultimate test. In rural areas, emergency response teams raced to predicted impact sites. In a wheat field in Kansas, a team of hazmat-suited scientists approached a smoking crater. At its center lay a twisted piece of metal, unmistakably alien in origin. Dr. Marcus Stein, leading the investigation, approached the fragment with a handheld scanner. His eyes widened as he read the results. "This is incredible," he breathed. "The alien technology is still active. It's interfacing with the surrounding plant life." Before their eyes, the wheat around the crater began to grow and change, taking on strange new forms. Dr. Stein keyed his comm unit. "Command, this is Dr. Stein. We have a situation here. The alien debris is altering the local ecosystem. We need to establish a quarantine zone immediately." Similar reports flooded in from around the globe. Admiral Graves, still coordinating the global response from his command center, felt the weight of the situation bearing down on him. He keyed the intercom, his voice echoing through the facility. "Initiate Operation Reclamation," he ordered. "I want every piece of alien tech found and secured, and get me a secure line to our off-world allies. We're going to need all the help we can get." As Earth grappled with the aftermath of the battle, long-range sensors picked up a new threat. Multiple unidentified objects were approaching the solar system at high speed. The objects' energy signatures didn't match any known alien race in Earth's database. In the midst of the chaos, a junior officer approached Admiral Graves, her face pale. "Sir," she said, her voice barely above a whisper, "we're receiving reports of renewed purist activity. They're attempting to seize control of areas affected by the alien debris." Graves closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the weight of command more heavily than ever before. When he opened them again, his gaze was steel. "Alert all local authorities. The purists cannot be allowed to interfere with our containment efforts." As humanity faced this new set of challenges, the solar system itself stood on the brink of transformation. The repercussions of the battle against the Voidwalkers were only beginning to be felt, and the true test of Earth's drive was yet to come. The true mettle of humanity was about to be tested on a scale never before imagined. Admiral Graves' fingers flew across his console, initiating a series of commands that would reshape Earth's defense strategy. "This is Admiral Graves to all fleet commanders," he announced, his voice steady despite the weight of his words. "Implement Protocol Omega. I repeat, implement Protocol Omega." Across the solar system, Earth's battered but resilient fleet began to move. Ships powered up their engines, leaving their positions around Mars and Earth to form a new defensive perimeter at the edge of the solar system. The fleet's movements were precise and coordinated, a testament to the countless drills and simulations they had run in preparation for this very moment. Captain Elena Rodriguez, commanding the EDF Sentinel, watched as her ship's systems came online with newfound power. The integration of precursor technology had transformed the Sentinel from a formidable warship into something beyond human engineering. "Helm, set course for the Kuiper Belt," she ordered. "Let's see what this new tech can do." As the Earth Defense Force redeployed, the situation on Mars continued to evolve at a breakneck pace. Krax's shuttle touched down in a newly formed oasis, the Martian landscape around them shifting and changing with each passing moment. Trees burst from the once barren soil, their branches reaching towards the thinning atmosphere. "Secure the package," Krax barked, gesturing to Michael Rogers' unconscious form. His team moved swiftly, transferring the hybrid human to a stasis pod. As they worked, the ground beneath their feet trembled, new fissures opening to release plumes of steam and water. Dr. Marcus Stein stepped off a transport ship, his eyes wide with wonder as he took in the rapidly terraforming Martian landscape. "It's incredible," he breathed, his scientific mind already racing with possibilities. "We're witnessing planetary engineering on a scale we've only theorized about." Back on Earth, the global defense network hummed with activity. In New York, the city's energy shield pulsed with renewed strength, drawing power from the alien debris that had been integrated into its systems. Similar scenes played out across the globe as humanity's technological defenses adapted and evolved. But not everyone welcomed these changes. In the outskirts of Chicago, a group of purist extremists gathered around a makeshift command center. Their leader, a scarred veteran named Jackson, addressed his followers with fire in his eyes. "They're poisoning our world with this alien filth," he snarled, gesturing to a map showing the locations of debris impact sites. "It's time we took matters into our own hands, for the purity of humanity." His words were met with a chorus of approval, but their celebration was short-lived. The air crackled with energy as a team of cybernetically enhanced special forces materialized around them, their hybrid tech allowing them to phase through the purest defenses. "Hands where we can see them," ordered Lieutenant Sarah Chen, her cybernetic eyes scanning the room for threats. "By order of Earth Defense Command, you're all under arrest." In orbit, the International Space Station underwent a startling metamorphosis. As a piece of precursor technology fused with its structure, the station began to grow and reshape itself. Commander David Park watched in awe as new modules sprouted from the station's frame, gleaming with an otherworldly light. "ISS to Earth Control," he reported, his voice tight with a mix of excitement and apprehension. "The station, it's changing. We need immediate evac." His transmission cut off abruptly as the station's systems overrode Earth's communications. Admiral Graves leaned forward in his chair, his face grim. "Initiate emergency protocols," he ordered. "Get our people off that station now." As chaos unfolded across Earth and Mars, the sensors at the edge of the solar system lit up with activity. The unidentified objects that had been detected earlier purposed into a diverse fleet of alien ships, each bearing the distinct signatures of different extraterrestrial civilizations. Admiral Graves's voice cut through the tension in Earth's command center. "Activate the planetary shield," he ordered, "and get me Colonel Harper. It's time to make history." The massive energy projectors around Earth hummed to life, weaving a protective barrier around the planet just as the first wave of alien ships entered the solar system. As the shield shimmered into existence, the transformed International Space Station sent out a powerful burst of energy, a complex signal that reverberated across space. Colonel James Harper, newly appointed as Earth's Interstellar Relations Director, stood before a hastily assembled team of diplomats and linguists. "Ladies and gentlemen," he addressed them, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "We're about to embark on the most important mission in human history. Our task is to establish peaceful contact with these alien races and secure humanity's place among the stars." As Harper's team prepared for their unprecedented journey, Earth teetered on the brink of a new era. The actions taken in the coming hours would determine not just the fate of humanity, but potentially the course of galactic history. With internal conflicts threatening to tear them apart and unknown alien civilizations waiting to make contact, the true test of Earth's willpower was about to begin. As Earth braced for the arrival of the alien fleet, an unexpected development shifted the focus of both human and extraterrestrial attention. The transformed International Space Station, now pulsing with precursor energy, began to move under its own power. Admiral Graves watched in awe as the massive structure gracefully detached from Earth's orbit, its new form gleaming with an otherworldly light. "What in the world?" he muttered, leaning forward to study the readouts on his console. The station accelerated, positioning itself between Earth and the approaching alien armada. As it settled into its new orbit, the structure began to expand further, sprouting additional modules and docking bays. Graves keyed his comm. Colonel Harper, there's been a change of plans. Redirect your team to the transformed space station. It seems our neutral ground has chosen itself. Harper acknowledged the order, his voice tight with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Understood, Admiral. We're boarding the shuttle now. The newly retrofitted shuttle, a sleek fusion of human engineering and precursor technology, detached from its hangar. Its hybrid engines flared to life, propelling the craft towards the evolving space station. On Mars, the situation was rapidly spiraling out of control. Krax and his team watched in amazement as the planet's surface underwent a dramatic metamorphosis. The melting polar ice caps released massive quantities of trapped gases, thickening the Martian atmosphere at an unprecedented rate. Dr. Marcus Stein struggled to maintain his footing as another tremor shook the research facility. "We need to establish protective domes immediately," he shouted over the howling wind. "These storms are getting worse by the minute." Krax nodded, his alien features set in stubborn persistence. He barked orders to his team in his native language, coordinating with the Earth scientists to secure their equipment and personnel. As they worked, a massive dust storm loomed on the horizon, its red-tinged clouds stretching as far as the eye could see. The newly formed Martian rivers swelled with floodwater, carving new canyons into the transforming landscape. Back on Earth, the tenuous peace was shattered by a series of coordinated purist attacks. In Geneva, alarms blared as security systems were breached at a top-secret cybernetic research facility. Jackson, the scarred purist leader, grinned as his team breached the final security door. "Destiny is ours," he growled, stepping into a laboratory filled with experimental cybernetic enhancements. "With these, we'll cleanse humanity of its impurities." The irony of using advanced technology to fight against technological progress was lost on the purist forces as they began to augment themselves with the stolen enhancements. Admiral Graves received the alert of the Geneva breach, his face hardening as he processed the implications. He keyed his comm once more. "This is Admiral Graves. Activate Project Phoenix. Authorization code Omega 7 Delta." In a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, stasis pods hissed open. Major Sarah Hawkins, her body a perfect fusion of flesh and machine, opened her eyes for the first time in months. "Project Phoenix, online and ready for deployment," she reported, her cybernetic eyes glowing with an inner fire. As Hawkins and her team prepared for their first mission, the alien fleet surrounding Earth began to react to the chaos unfolding on the planet's surface. Several ships broke formation, descending towards the atmosphere. Admiral Graves watched the movement with growing concern. "Reconfigure the planetary shield," he ordered. "I want targeted defensive measures in place, but maintain our ability to communicate with the alien fleet." The shield shimmered, its energy field shifting to allow for more precise control. On the transformed space station, now dubbed Nexus 1 by Earth's media, Colonel Harper and his diplomatic team docked their shuttle. As they stepped into the station's new central chamber, they found themselves face-to-face with representatives from 12 distinct alien civilizations. The air shimmered with a translucent field, the station's integrated precursor systems facilitating seamless communication between the diverse species. Harper took a deep breath, acutely aware that the fate of humanity rested on his shoulders. "Greetings," he began, his voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "On behalf of Earth and the human race, we welcome you to Nexus 1. The alien representatives regarded him with a mix of curiosity and caution. A tall, slender being with iridescent skin stepped forward. "We have observed your victory over the Voidwalkers," it said, its voice resonating through the translation field. "Your integration of precursor technology is unprecedented." As the diplomatic dance began on Nexus 1, the battle for Earth's future raged on multiple fronts. In Neo-Tokyo, Major Hawkins and her Project Phoenix team engaged the purist forces in a firefight that threatened to tear the city apart. Hawkins ducked behind a barrier of twisted metal, her enhanced reflexes allowing her to dodge a barrage of plasma fire. "Team, converge on the AI hub," she ordered, her cybernetic implants providing real-time tactical data. "We can't let them gain control of the city's systems." As the conflict intensified, a new threat loomed on the horizon. Deep space monitoring stations detected a massive energy surge at the edge of the solar system, its signature chillingly similar to that of the Voidwalker Rift. Admiral Graves received the alert, his blood running cold. With Earth embroiled in internal conflict and alien civilizations watching their every move, the potential return of the Voidwalkers threatened to shatter the delicate balance they had fought so hard to achieve. He keyed his comm once more, his voice grave. "This is Admiral Graves. Initiate Protocol Omega Black. We may be facing a resurgence of the Voidwalker threat. All hands, prepare for potential conflict." As Earth's forces mobilized for the possibility of another cosmic war, the fate of humanity hung in the balance. The transformed International Space Station, now a nexus of interstellar diplomacy, pulsed with energy against the backdrop of Earth's fragile blue sphere. The next few hours would determine not just the future of humanity, but potentially the course of galactic history itself. As Earth braced for the potential return of the Voidwalkers, a flurry of activity erupted across the solar system. Admiral Graves's voice crackled over the comm system, his tone urgent but controlled. "All ships, this is Admiral Graves. Form up at the outer defense perimeter. We have a situation developing at the edge of the system." Earth's space fleet surged into action, vessels of various sizes and configurations moving into predetermined positions. The ship's engines flared brilliantly against the backdrop of space, forming a defensive line that stretched across the vast expanse. Meanwhile, deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Michael Rogers stirred in his medical pod. His eyes snapped open, glowing with an otherworldly light. Dr. Marcus Stein leaned over him, concern etched on his face. "Michael, can you hear me?" Stein asked, his voice steady despite the tension in the room. Rogers nodded slowly, his gaze unfocused. I can feel them," he whispered. "The defense systems. They're alive." Stein exchanged a glance with Admiral Graves, who had just entered the room. "What do you mean, Michael?" Graves asked, stepping closer to the pod. Rogers' hand shot out, grasping a nearby console. The screens lit up with a dizzying array of data, scrolling faster than the human eye could follow. "I can control them," he said, his voice growing stronger. "Like on Mars, but more." Graves nodded, a mix of awe and apprehension on his face. "Dr. Stein, stabilize his connection. We need every advantage we can get." As the scientists worked to enhance Michael's newfound abilities, Colonel James Harper faced a different kind of challenge on Nexus 1. The alien representatives crowded around him, their diverse forms creating a tapestry of colors and textures. "We demand access to your precursor technology," the tall, iridescent being from earlier stated, its voice tinged with urgency. "If the Voidwalkers return, we must be prepared." Harper stood his ground, his posture firm but non-threatening. "We understand your concerns," he replied, choosing his words carefully. "Earth is willing to engage in a limited technology-sharing agreement. However, we must maintain control over our precursor integrations." The alien representatives murmured among themselves, a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and low hums. Finally, a stocky reptilian creature stepped forward. "Acceptable," it growled, "but we expect full cooperation in the face of this threat." As Harper negotiated the delicate terms of their alliance, Major Sarah Hawkins and her Project Phoenix team deployed across the globe. In Neo-Tokyo, Hawkins crouched behind the twisted wreckage of a hover car, her cybernetic eyes scanning the area. "Team status report," she sub-vocalized, the command transmitted directly through her neural implants. "South sector clear," came the reply from her second-in-command. "Purest resistance neutralized." Hawkins nodded, satisfaction evident in her expression. "Good work. Let's move to the next hotspot." As Project Phoenix secured Earth's critical infrastructure, reports began filtering in of Purist leaders fleeing the planet. Graves received the news with a grim expression, knowing that this development could complicate their already precarious situation. On Mars, the transformation was nothing short of miraculous. Krax stood atop a newly formed hill, his alien features bathed in the warm light of the Martian sun. Below him, a river of clear water carved its way through the red landscape, fed by the rapidly melting polar ice caps. "Incredible!" Dr. Stein's voice crackled through Krax's comm unit. The atmospheric density is approaching breathable levels. We've achieved in months what should have taken centuries. Krax's reply was cut short as a shadow fell over the Martian landscape. Looking up, he saw a fleet of alien ships entering orbit, their designs varied and unfamiliar. Back on Earth, the planetary shield system pulsed with newfound energy. The precursor technology integrated into the defense network began to shift and change, creating complex geometric patterns that shimmered in the atmosphere. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Michael Rogers gasped, his body arching in the medical pod. "It's evolving," he said, his voice filled with wonder. "The shield. It's becoming something more." Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Admiral Graves rushed to the main command console, his face paling as he read the incoming data. "Void Walker scout ship detected," he announced, his voice cutting through the chaos. "All hands, battle stations. This is not a drill." As Earth's military forces scrambled into action, the alien races on Nexus 1 made good on their promise of support. Ships of various designs and capabilities moved to reinforce Earth's defensive line, creating a multi-species armada unlike anything seen before in the solar system. On Earth, millions of civilians volunteered for cybernetic enhancement, driven by a mix of fear and commitment. As the number of augmented humans skyrocketed, an unexpected phenomenon began to unfold. The collective enhanced human consciousness started to interface with the planet's evolving precursor systems, creating a global neural network that pulsed with untapped potential. Just as Earth seemed to be unifying in the face of the Voidwalker threat, a new crisis emerged. A small fleet of ships, hijacked by escaped purist leaders and alien separatists, broke away from the main defensive line. Their course, a direct intercept with the approaching Voidwalker scout ship. Admiral Graves, his face etched with the weight of command, made a decision that would alter the course of human history. "Initiate Protocol Omega Prime," he ordered, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Across the solar system, ancient precursor defense platforms stirred to life. Long dormant systems activated, sending pulses of energy that began to reshape the very fabric of space around the solar system. A complex defensive grid materialized, extending far beyond Earth's original sphere of influence. As the Voidwalker scout ship approached and the rogue purist separatist fleet made its move, Earth and its newfound allies braced for a conflict that would determine the fate of not just humanity, but the entire galaxy. The solar system itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the moment when the fragile peace would shatter and the true battle would begin. The true battle would unfold across the vastness of space, where humanity's fate hung in the balance. As the Voidwalker scout ship breached the outer reaches of the solar system, Earth's defenses sprang to life. The newly activated precursor platforms hummed with ancient power, weaving an intricate tapestry of energy fields and gravitational distortions around the solar system. This defensive grid enveloped the approaching threat, its complex web of forces slowing the Voidwalker's advance to a crawl. In the Rocky Mountain facility, Admiral Graves stood before a holographic display of the solar system, his face illuminated by the pulsing lights of Earth's defensive network. "Deploy the fleet," he ordered, his voice carrying the weight of command. "All ships, take your positions as per Operation Starfall." Across the system, Earth's newly augmented space fleet surged into action. Ships of various sizes and configurations, their hulls gleaming with integrated precursor technology, moved into predetermined strategic positions. The ESS Prometheus, Earth's flagship, led the charge, its massive form cutting through space with unparalleled grace. On the Prometheus's bridge, Major Sarah Hawkins surveyed her team. Each member of Project Phoenix stood at attention, their cybernetic enhancements gleaming under the ship's lights. "Listen up, team," Hawkins said, her voice steady and determined. "We've got a special assignment. A group of purist separatists, working with alien collaborators, has broken away from the main fleet. Our job is to intercept and neutralize this threat before they can rendezvous with the Voidwalker scout." As the Prometheus and its task force set course for the outer planets, Michael Rogers lay in a modified medical pod deep within the Rocky Mountain facility. His eyes, glowing with an otherworldly light, darted rapidly behind closed lids as his mind interfaced with Earth's defense systems. "Dr. Stein," Michael called out, his voice strained, "I'm detecting something unusual in the asteroid belt." Dr. Marcus Stein leaned closer, his brow furrowed with concern. "What is it, Michael?" "Dormant installations," Michael replied, his fingers twitching as he manipulated unseen controls. "Precursor in origin. I think they're weapons." Admiral Graves, overhearing the conversation, stepped closer to Michael's pod. "Can you activate them?" Michael nodded slowly, his face contorted with concentration. "Initiating activation sequence now." Across the asteroid belt, massive structures began to stir. Rocks and ice that had lain undisturbed for millennia crumbled away, revealing sleek, angular constructs of impossible complexity. As they powered up, waves of energy rippled through space, causing sensors across the system to light up with warnings. On Mars, Crack stood atop a newly formed hill, watching in awe as the planet continued its rapid transformation. The Martian sky, now a pale blue, was crisscrossed with wispy clouds. Below him, a river of clear water carved its way through the red landscape. Suddenly, the ground beneath his feet began to tremble. Fissures appeared in the Martian soil, venting superheated steam and water into the air. Crax's comm unit crackled to life with urgent messages from the research teams, scattered across the surface. "All personnel, this is Crax," he broadcast, his alien features set in a grim expression. "Initiate emergency evacuation protocols immediately. Move all essential equipment and personnel to orbital stations. This is not a drill." As the Martian outpost scrambled to evacuate, the Voidwalker scout ship encountered the first layer of Earth's new defenses. The alien vessel, a construct of impossible geometries and pulsing energy, attempted to navigate through the energy fields. However, it soon found itself entangled in the web of gravitational distortions. Its progress slowed to a fraction of its original speed. Near the orbit of Neptune, Major Hawkins and the ESS Prometheus engaged the purest alien separatist fleet. The void of space lit up with weapons fire as the two forces clashed. "Evasive maneuvers," Hawkins ordered, her cybernetic reflexes allowing her to process the battle in microseconds. "Target the lead ship's propulsion systems. We need to cut off their escape route." The Prometheus banked hard, narrowly avoiding a barrage of energy weapons. Its own cannons roared to life, sending lances of superheated plasma towards the separatist vessels. Several enemy ships erupted into silent explosions, their debris scattering across the battlefield. Despite the Prometheus's superior firepower, a small group of separatist ships managed to slip past their defenses, continuing their course towards the struggling Voidwalker scout. Back on Earth, Dr. Stein made a startling discovery as he analyzed Michael Rogers' latest test results. "Admiral," he called out, his voice tinged with excitement and apprehension, "you need to see this." Graves moved swiftly to Stein's side, examining the data on the scientist's tablet. His eyes widened as he processed the information. "Are you certain about this?" Stein nodded solemnly. "Michael's physiology isn't just integrating with the precursor technology. It's evolving it. He may be the key to unlocking the full potential of the entire defense network." Graves' mind raced with the implications of this revelation. After a moment of contemplation, he made a decision that would alter the course of the battle. Prepare Michael for immediate transport to Nexus 1. If he can interface directly with the station's systems, we might just have a chance at turning the tide. As Michael was rushed to a waiting shuttle, the Voidwalker scout ship intensified its efforts to break free from the defensive grid. A powerful signal began emanating from the alien vessel, pulsing outward into the depths of space. Long-range sensors lit up with warnings, detecting a massive surge of energy at the very edge of the solar system. Admiral Graves's voice crackled over the fleet-wide comm channel, his tone urgent but controlled. "All ships, be advised. We have possible incoming Voidwalker reinforcements. Prepare for imminent engagement." On Nexus 1, Colonel Harper worked tirelessly to maintain the fragile alliance with the alien representatives. As news of Michael's impending arrival spread, tension on the station reached a fever pitch. I assure you, Harper addressed the assembled alien dignitaries, his voice calm despite the pressure. Earth has no intention of using this technology for anything other than our common defense against the Voidwalker threat. The alien representatives murmured among themselves, their varied forms creating a tapestry of colors and textures. Some eyed Harper with suspicion, while others nodded in cautious agreement. As Michael's shuttle docked with Nexus 1, the transformed space station hummed with anticipation. The moment he stepped onto the station, tendrils of energy began to coalesce around him, linking him to the station's core systems. Michael's eyes glowed brighter than ever as he interfaced with Nexus 1. His consciousness expanded, reaching out through the station and into the vast network of precursor defenses scattered throughout the solar system. He could feel the energy cannons in the asteroid belt, their massive arrays aligning under his guidance. With newfound clarity, Michael calculated precise firing solutions that would thread through the complex defensive grid. The energy cannons powered up, their capacitors whining as they prepared to unleash devastation upon both the approaching Voidwalker scout and the Separatist fleet. As the cannons reached full charge, the solar system itself seemed to hold its breath. The next few moments would determine the fate of Earth and its allies in this interstellar conflict. Major Hawkins and the ESS Prometheus raced to intercept the remaining Separatist ships, while the Voidwalker scout struggled against the relentless pull of the defensive grid, its signal growing stronger with each passing second. The stage was set for a battle that would reshape the future of humanity and the galaxy itself. As Michael prepared to unleash the full might of the precursor weapons, the question on everyone's mind was whether it would be enough to turn the tide against the impending Voidwalker threat. The solar system erupted into a dazzling spectacle of light and energy as Michael Rogers, now fully integrated with Nexus 1, unleashed the full might of the precursor weapons. The energy cannons in the asteroid belt hummed to life, their capacitors releasing a torrent of power that surged through the complex defensive grid. Streams of exotic particles lanced out from the asteroid belt, precisely threading through the energy fields and gravitational distortions. The first volley struck the Voidwalker scout ship with pinpoint accuracy. The alien vessel's shields flared brilliantly as they struggled to absorb the immense energy before finally buckling under the onslaught. Simultaneously, several beams intercepted the remaining Separatist fleet. The ship's engines sputtered and died, their weapon systems overloading in a cascade of silent explosions. The vessels hung motionless in space, rendered impotent by the precision strike. Major Sarah Hawkins, her cybernetic enhancements processing the battlefield data in microseconds, recognized the opportunity presented by the disabled Separatist fleet. "All hands, prepare for boarding action," she commanded, her voice steady and resolute. "We're taking the fight to their flagship." The ESS Prometheus maneuvered alongside the crippled Separatist vessel. Hawkins led her Project Phoenix team through the airlock, their enhanced bodies moving with fluid grace in the zero-gravity environment. They encountered immediate resistance as they breached the enemy ship, but their superior training and augmentations gave them a decisive edge. Hawkins ducked under a wild energy blast from a Purist defender, her cybernetic reflexes allowing her to close the distance in the blink of an eye. A quick, precise strike rendered her opponent unconscious. "Push forward," she ordered, gesturing to a nearby bulkhead. "The command center should be just beyond that door." As Hawkins and her team fought their way through the Separatist flagship, Michael Rogers' consciousness expanded further, encompassing every precursor system in the solar system. His mind raced through vast networks of ancient technology, processing information at an unprecedented rate. Suddenly, Michael's awareness stretched beyond the confines of the solar system. His enhanced senses detected a disturbance in the fabric of space-time, far beyond the reach of conventional sensors. "Admiral Graves," he called out, his voice echoing through Nexus 1's communication systems. "I'm picking up a massive energy signature at the edge of the system. It's a Voidwalker fleet, far larger than anything we've encountered before." Graves's face hardened as he absorbed the information. "How long do we have?" "Minutes at most," Michael replied, his consciousness already working to reconfigure the defensive grid. "I'm adjusting our defenses to create a series of interlocking energy fields. It should slow them down and give us a tactical advantage. As Michael spoke, the precursor platforms throughout the solar system began to shift and realign. Waves of energy rippled through space, forming complex, overlapping barriers that pulsed with otherworldly power. On the Separatist flagship, Major Hawkins and her team breached the command center. The Purist leaders and their alien collaborators put up a fierce but ultimately futile resistance. As the last enemy fell, Hawkins noticed a console flashing with an incoming transmission. "Dr. Stein," she called over the comm channel, "I'm sending you data from the Separatist command systems. It looks like they've been in communication with the approaching Voidwalker fleet." Back on Earth, Dr. Marcus Stein's fingers flew over his keyboard as he analyzed the incoming data. "This is critical intelligence," he muttered, his eyes widening as he decrypted the information. "Admiral, the Separatists were planning to open a massive rift to allow an even larger invasion force into our system." Before Graves could respond, alarms blared across every sensor array in the solar system. The Voidwalker fleet had arrived, their impossible geometries distorting the very fabric of space as they pushed against the reconfigured defensive grid. "All ships, battle stations," Graves commanded, his voice carrying across the entire Earth fleet. "Engage the enemy and utilize the precursor defenses to your advantage. This is the moment we've prepared for. Let's show these Voidwalkers what humanity is capable of." As Earth's fleet surged forward, joined by their newly allied alien forces, the solar system transformed into a battlefield of unprecedented scale. The precursor defenses, guided by Michael's enhanced intelligence, created pockets of altered space-time that trapped and disoriented the Voidwalker ships. Major Hawkins, having secured the Separatist flagship, quickly repurposed its systems to join the fight against the Voidwalkers. "All captured ships, form up on the Prometheus," she ordered. "We're going to hit their flank while they're disoriented." The battle raged across the vast expanse of space, energy weapons and exotic particles illuminating the void. Earth's forces, despite being outnumbered, used their intimate knowledge of the precursor defenses to outmaneuver their technologically superior enemy. As the conflict intensified, a new development caught everyone by surprise. Mars, still undergoing its rapid transformation, began to exhibit strange phenomena. Massive geysers of superheated water and exotic minerals erupted from the planet's surface, reaching high into the newly formed atmosphere. Cracks, monitoring the situation from an orbital station, watched in awe as the eruptions began to crystallize, forming towering structures that stretched towards the stars. "This is incredible," he breathed, his alien features contorted in concentration as he analyzed the data streaming in from the surface. The precursor terraforming process has entered its final phase, and it's creating some kind of natural defensive array. The Martian crystals grew at an alarming rate, their structures becoming more complex and intricate with each passing moment. As they expanded, they began to interact with the energy fields permeating the solar system, amplifying and redirecting the ambient power in ways that defied conventional physics. Admiral Graves, always quick to recognize an advantage, immediately saw the potential in this development. "Cracks," he called over the comm channel, "I need you to find a way to weaponize those crystals. If we can harness their energy-amplifying properties, we might have a chance to turn the tide of this battle." As Cracks and his team of Earth scientists began their frantic work to understand and utilize the Martian crystals, the battle continued to rage across the solar system. The fate of Earth, and indeed the entire galaxy, hung in the balance as humanity fought to prove its worth among the stars.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.